With Su Xing's current strength that was formidable enough to sweep through the 4 territories, the remaining Star Masters with even just a bit of awareness about the Star Duels knew that an alliance was absolutely necessary. Song Qingxi had Dai Xingyue search out most of the Star Masters that did not have relations with Su Xing and issue them invitations. Even further, she even distributed some of the first-rate magic weapons they had obtained from the White Tiger Territory's Demon Kings to Yan Wudao and the other Star Masters of high cultivation. With such a sign of good faith, she believed not a single one of them would decline. As Song Qingxi anticipated, several days after the invitations were sent, a procession of Star Masters came to the peak of Heaven's Sun Mountain. The purple firmament immortal palaces Humi descended upon Heaven's Sun Mountain while riding a purple cloud. A palace had been erected upon this 1,000-mu mountaintop. Through the blowing wind and shining sun, its carved walls and painted structures had long since been broken. Covered in dust, when the wind blew the dust away, the crumbling fences and walls it revealed showed detailed carvings that recorded bygone splendor. Humi slowly walked forth, her finger tracing along the jade banisters, a reserved gaze in her eyes, pensive as she strolled about the courtyard. Gold Lancer Su Jingshu followed behind her. The girl twirled her 4-star destined weapon, the hooked lance, around in one hand, yet her eyes were full of vigilance as she scanned the surroundings. Jingshu, do you feel we should join the alliance against Su Xing? With a rustle, her feet came to a stop. Humi turned around to ask Su Jingshu. If we follow in accordance with the pattern of the previous Star Duels, we should. Su Jingshu did not hesitate to answer, Humi, with our strength, we absolutely can scale the peak. But that man who has contracted with Lin Chong is too abnormal. With him around, the Star Duels are hopeless, but, Gold Lancer changed the topic, but that was the approach of the past Star Duels. The 9th has too many variables. For Lin Chong and Wu Song to be able to find a contractor, there is inevitably a reason why he was worthy to follow. Perhaps it is not simply for the Star Duels and goes far beyond, let alone, he also has many Star Masters accompanying him. Humi smiled. Su Jingshu, your thoughts are the same as mine. Humi also feels that Su Xing's Star Duels have never been bloody. Then, you are saying if we follow him instead, Humi, you may be able to live. Su Jingshu blinked, suddenly discovering the implication behind these words was honestly too cowardly. Twitching her lips, we do not share much camaraderie with this monster, why must we give P without a fight? Humi was just hesitating over this reason. That Ling Yan princess, the Vermilion Bird Saintess, and the Immortal Hero Princess were all women of that monster. She herself did not have much of a relationship with Su Xing. If she had to be a bit more personal, then this was merely limited to that one time at the Crystal Dragon Palace. But on the other hand, because of that loss in the Longevity Palace Shiyu suffered at her hands, she should have been established as an enemy. Seeing her vacillate, Su Jingshu shook her head. It would be better for us to see just what this monster-slaying conference is, see whether or not it can threaten the Purple Thunder monster. Humi agreed. Passing through the ruined halls and flowers, they came to a clearing. A spacious courtyard appeared before them, matted with green grass, bursting with the scent of flowers and elegant butterflies. It was completely different from the destroyed structures. In this courtyard were numerous tables, already filled with fine wine and dishes. Many of the tables were already filled with people. Humi's sudden appearance, her fair immortal beauty and wonderful figure and grace immediately stunned everyone. Humi swept her eyes over them, noticing that the Star Masters in attendance were far more numerous than she had imagined. Yan Wudao, Yi Futu, Xian Lao, and the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon were among them. The woman walked elegantly forth to a golden table. The girl's supervoid middle stage cultivation made all the Star Masters present stare at her incredulously. In particular, the aura of the Su Jingshu following behind her remained steadfast and calm, her pace steady as a rock, giving everyone a deep impression. Fairy Fox of voracious admiration, I have wanted to meet you for a very long time. Yan Wudao rose and cupped his fist. Zhang Biluo disapprovingly twitched her lips. Ha, ha, to see Fairy Fox of voracious admiration attend this banquet, this is too gratifying. At least the fairy has not been deceived by that purple thunder monster. Another of the Azure Dragon Territory Star Masters laughed loudly. Humi very adeptly concealed her displeasure as she gazed at that supercluster stage Star Master. Your servant is Gong Song. Gong Song promptly announced his name with respect. Regarding this Star Master who possessed the supreme ultimate diagram, he did not dare slight her. If it was not for these star duels that had the purple thunder monster, this woman in purple clothes would really have been the purple thunder monstress. Fellow, do not be so modest. Humi's tone was gentle. Seeing the Xie Zhenyuan beside him was supervoid middle stage, she was slightly shocked, a meaningful gleam in her eyes. Seeing truly is believing, fellow Zhenyuan. Liangshan Continent's #1 genius Star Master. Humi acknowledges her own inferiority. However, to not be able to use that in these star duels is nevertheless a pity. Humi spotted the Ho Rulan clutched against his chest sewing clothes. Different people have different aspirations. Xie Zhenyuan shook his head. Zhenyuan only wants to bring Ho Rulan up Maiden Mountain by relying only on his own 2 hands alone, to let everyone in the world know, that even a Star Master is able to protect Maiden Mountain Star Maidens. These words were declared boldly and righteously, making all Star Maidens present shoot glances at each other. TSK, how shameless. Zhang Biluo disdainfully muttered. To be able to leave behind a good reputation for the generations to follow, Humi is wholeheartedly impressed. Humi saluted. Xie Zhenyuan smiled and beckoned her to sit. The Black Turtle Territory only had the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon and Su Xingxiang as their Star Masters, but the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon was very ostentatious. Li Xiangfei and Humi flanked each side of him, gracefully pouring him wine like imperial consorts, earning him everyone's envy. 2 supervoid middle stages. This Azure Dragon Territory surprisingly has so many formidable Star Masters. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon chewed somewhat indignantly. This is not strange as the Azure Dragon Territory has been the star duel's important grounds since antiquity. With our combined strength, we can even face a supervoid middle stage Star Master. Su Xingxiang smiled. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon put on a fake smile. Ever since he witnessed this Su Xingxiang's 10,000 souls parasol, he did not dare look down on this woman. Heaven knew what other tricks she had. However, this Azure Dragon Territory Star Master truly has a bizarre personality. That Xie Zhenyuan has contracted a piece of trash that can only sew clothes. To climb the peak while protecting a Star General just to leave behind a reputation, ha, ha, this Holy Lord sees a fool who seeks his own death. Holy Lord, you cannot underestimate him. Li Xiangfei spoke, her brow wrinkled, feeling that Xie Zhenyuan was somewhat strange. I was merely speaking my thoughts. If we truly came to a star duel, this Holy Lord shall use full power. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon said. However, in these star duels, there truly are many formidable Star Masters. Su Xingxiang sipped her wine. Her cheeks were rosy, but she looked around vigilantly. Like the other Star Masters, she had come to Heaven's Sun Mountain while being attentive of other enemies. Although this was an alliance, each mind was very aware that after killing the Purple Thunder monster, they would then become enemies. Su Xingxiang was secretly wary. Other than the powerful enemies of the Azure Dragon Territory, the White Tiger Territories Yifutu and Xian Lao were also very problematic. That Yifutu was manageable, but Xian Lao was expressionless. There was not a shred of emotion in her. Even when a fairy the likes of Humi arrived, the woman did not so much as blink, merely lowering her head and shutting her eyes in contemplation. The more calm she was, the more unfathomable she felt to Su Xingxiang. Although that Purple Thunder monster has Lin Chong and Wu Song, when we have so many people, why should we still fear him? The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's mood was splendid, as if he could already see Su Xing's wretched death at his hands. Su Xingxiang inwardly sighed, feeling that the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon was somewhat optimistic. Li Taisui is dead. Amidst the drinking and conversations, Humi suddenly let out a startled exclamation. The others were not surprised at the fox of voracious admiration's shock. In fact, everyone who learned from Yi Futu the news of Li Taisui's demise were all astounded. That scene from Crystal Dragon Palace was still vividly in their mind. The Li Taisui then was unstoppable, no Star Master could face him. And the Hu Mi who had traded blows with him before was even more aware of this old man's frightening might. Back then, it was only because of that one opportunity to ally with Su Xing that she realized she was not an opponent. She never imagined that Li Taisui would surprisingly starfall before the Seven Stars Assembly. That elder sister Zijin was the absolute as a martial general. To surprisingly die. Su Jingshu was regretful. Futu is not very clear on the precise course of events. But the White Tiger territory had its own agreement for the Seven Stars Assembly. With Taisui dead, this turned absolutely meaningless. Yi Futu sighed. More aware of Li Taisui's might than anyone else, he directly felt sympathy for this reason. The White Tiger's 7 starfalls was a major event. Humi had thought, Humi forced a smile. That Li Taisui killed us? Yi Futu smiled. Never thought that Su Xing's power would already be so frightening. To have so quickly killed Li Taisui and Han Bing before the heavenly books. Humi thought to herself. Perhaps he knows we are forming an alliance against him, so he killed Li Taisui beforehand. If the blue-faced beast had obtained a heavenly book, he would have been in danger. Yi Futu surmised. All the more reason for us to work together as one. Yen Wudao said. Everyone nodded in agreement. That purple thunder monster is extremely cunning. He even drew my imperial sister in like a moth to a flame. Zhao Heng sneered. Prince Highness, will you not follow the purple thunder monster as the Ling Yan princess does? If you go, the purple thunder monster would presumably have admitted you to the Seven Stars Assembly. Gong Song chuckled. The others placed their gazes on Zhao Heng, their expressions strict. Zhao Heng laughed, This Highness is not so stupid. Comparing the purple thunder monster to this alliance here, this Highness feels we can kill him if we work together. So what if he has Lin Chong and Wu Song? Can it be that we should still fear him with so many of us here? Everyone laughed. Can you raise a hand against your own imperial sister? One must always pay the price for their own choices. These are the star duels. Zhao Heng slowly said. Well said. Gong Song cheered. As everyone chatted about their experiences in the star duels, it was not long before a cloud of poison rolled in from the horizon. A cart upon dark purple poison chi appeared. The newcomer was none other than Lady Snake Scorpion and her husband, the Rock Demon King. The vast vermilion bird territory has only she alone. Zhao Heng asked. It is said that all of the vermilion bird territory star masters have been slain by the Lady Snake Scorpion. Humi said in a subdued tone. All slain. There is a rumor that leader Star Song Jiang appeared in the vermilion bird territory, and that she died at her hand. Humi raised her brow. What? Lady Snake Scorpion killed Song Jiang. Everyone was stunned, liked it. Leader Star Song Jiang through the star duels was quite a character. In a tactical sense, she was a key strategic location. Killing her could grant vast star energy, advance power by leaps and bounds. Just that star weapon, Heavenly Star Birth Banner, was enough to drive a mob into a frenzy. Reportedly, this weapon could continuously replenish a star general's star energy. Star generals in battle would consume substantial quantities of star energy, and heaven, earth, dark, yellow techniques would make this even more demanding. To possess a star weapon capable of rapid star energy recovery, this could surpass a magic weapon. It was possible this could even make star generals use their heaven ranks twice. In fact, Humi and the others were skeptical over whether Xie Zhenyuan's powerful cultivation was a result of killing timely rain. Hearing that Lady Snake Scorpion had killed Song Jiang, everyone showed wondrous expressions or doubt. Lady Snake Scorpion did not want to be on the minds of these people. Killing Song Jiang was tantamount to them killing herself. The woman stepped off the cart, her hands leading the Xie twins. She showed a sneer, heaven knows who started this nonsense. While this lady truly would like to have slain Song Jiang, it is a pity that this lady has merely killed her little sister, Iron Fan Song Qinghua. The 76th ranked handsome star Iron Fan Song Qing. Who else but her? Truly pitiful. Xie Diao twitched her lips. Fearing they did not believe her, Lady Snake Scorpion even specially brought out Song Qinghua's star weapon, Cool Breeze Bright Moon, an exquisite 2-star fan. The rumors that Song Jiang appeared in the Vermilion Bird territory ought to be true, though. The Xuanyang restaurant even has her poem. Yan Wudao slowly smiled and said. This lady dispatched people to find her, but she was not found. If this lady had truly killed Song Jiang, then would this lady still attend this so-called monster-slaying conference? Lady Snake Scorpion sneered. Exactly. They say that you have killed all of the Vermilion Bird Territory Star Masters, Queen. That you would come attend the monster-slaying conference is outside of this Holy Lord's expectations. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon grinned evilly. His words undoubtedly gave everyone a hint of disbelief. Lady Snake Scorpion was elegant, her speech sweet, those people are but trash. Leaving them will only give the Purple Thunder monster opportunities to bolster his strength. If it was you, would you show mercy? Holy Lord of Draconic Demon. Lady Snake Scorpion's cultivation was far unlike the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon or Xie Zhenyuan, who were disciples of the great sects. She cultivated the Gu arts, had very superficial foundations, and had barely reached Super Void late stage after killing those star masters and obtaining their star energies. For her to be like this was understandable, but this time, the Xie twins obtained 2 heavenly books. She and the Rock Demon King each shared one. Breaking through to Super Void would be in their grasp. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon merely sneered. This king shall help you all get rid of the monster. If anyone has designs upon my wife, then do not blame this king for merciless hostility. The Rock Demon King sternly declared. Although he was a Super Void Peak adept, the threat he posed after the 3 heavenly books was somewhat lacking. If it was not for Wudao's orders, Biluo would have you witness the might of her hidden weapons. Agile Star Zhang Biluo made a face. Jingshu actually wants to experience your hidden weapons. What a bold tone. Be careful that you do not pull your tongue. Fan Ming was disdainful. Before the monster slaying even began, the Star Masters from all 4 territories were already contesting each other. No one was willing to lose this battle. This was a true standoff, no one looked at each other straight. Excuse me, is this the monster slaying conference? Just when daggers were drawn, all of a sudden, a very magnetic voice came through. Everyone turned their gazes to see 2 more people walk up Heaven's Sun Mountain. That man could be described as incomparably handsome. Even women like Humi could not help but be envious. The girl behind the man was even more eye-catching. She was approximately 15 or 16, with hair like snow and was dressed in an ash-gray and golden chrysanthemum dress. A straight saber was stored in the opening of her wide sleeve. That man's cultivation was average, more or less supercluster middle stage, but the star general behind him really was like snow and ice, her killing intent chilling. Where has this fellow come from? Gong Song said. Fong Xian Gu of the Vermilion Bird Territory. The man introduced himself, this is your servant's cousin, Yanran. So it turns out the Vermilion Bird Territory had another star master, ha, ha, nice to meet you. Everyone said as they glanced back at Lady Snake Scorpion. Lady Snake Scorpion narrowed her eyes, pensive. just as everyone was about to welcome him. All of a sudden, the girl behind Fong Xiangu leapt forth, her clothes fluttering, saber light flashing. She drew her straight saber. The 4-star, Jade Dragon Misfortunate Snow, sword was formidable. Zheng Yanran swept the sword, calmly saying, "Whoever is the strongest martial general, please step forth and help Yanran liven this banquet up." Several hundred li outside Heaven's Sun Mountain. Tai Shu Wang was currently sitting cross-legged in meditation on a major road. The man's complexion was not good, his brow tightly furrowed. His star general, upright star iron-faced magistrate's clerk Pei Kaixien was currently searching for all star generals in a radius of 100 li of their position. Tai Shu Wang had similarly received an invitation to this monster-slaying conference, but he was in no rush to attend. Rather, he waited outside Heaven's Sun Mountain for an opportunity. He had no choice but to do this. Ever since he suffered serious injury and nearly died at the Crystal Dragon Palace, his cultivation was debilitated. Although he had gone through a recovery, he was not completely restored. After receiving this invitation, Tai Shu Wang conceived of an idea to use this opportunity to handle the other star masters. Tai Shu Wang was acutely aware that his current strength was feeble, even self-defense had become a problem. Even if he joined that monster-slaying conference, he would perhaps be cannon fodder in their eyes. He may as well wait for the other star masters who had received invitations to attend first, killing anyone weaker to obtain their star energy and heavenly book to strengthen himself. Tai Shu Wang's method was very successful. Over the past few days, many star masters had come, but his opponents were far too powerful, making Tai Shu Wang only able to look up hopefully. Fortunately, the others treated Tai Shu Wang as another guest of the banquet and did not strike him down for his contemptible thinking. Tai Shu Wang had waited a dozen days like this. On this day, another 2 people rushed in the direction of Heaven's Sun Mountain. "Master." Pei Caixuan's eyes moved. Tai Shu Wang opened his eyes, also looking in the direction. There were 2 young girls. He could not discern the background of the one dressed in white, but he knew from a glance that she was an insignificant scattered cultivator. The other girl who wore a hair binding was even more pale, a sickly appearance. Her step was unstable, as if she could fall over at any moment. His first impression was that this girl was critically ill. Hinting to Pei Kaixien, he rearranged his clothes and headed in that direction. Monster Slaying Conference. These star duels truly are interesting. A boss has surprisingly appeared at the end during the 7 Stars Assembly, making everyone unite. So exciting. Mingxi, we have surprisingly reached the end. However, that purple thunder monster is truly formidable. Apparently, Lin Chong and Wu Song both follow him. How about we follow him as well? No way. Right now, he is so dangerous. Xue Mingxi stumbled forward. She was at wit's end from listening to her best friend's endless and lengthy blathering. "Wanjing, I am ill. Can you be a bit more quiet?" The lively girl skipped about, turned around and gave an innocent wink. "Everything is fine. When you die, I will help you find a good place to bury you. I have underestimated you," Xue Mingxi said powerlessly. "Mingxi, what do you say we attend the monster-slaying conference? This should be the first time in history a situation like ours has appeared. If those star masters discover our identities, what then?" Wanjing thought aloud, however, her volley of questions obtained no response. Mingxi. The girl was very strange, suddenly noticing that Xue Mingxi's expression was stern. Far away, a man and an expressionless woman approached them. This man and you are both sick to the point of collapse it seems, Mingxi." Wanjing laughed. Hearing these words, the corner of Tai Shu Wang's lips twitched. He maintained a friendly appearance. "You two have come for the monster-slaying conference?" Xue Mingxi's raggedly confirmed. Wanjing immediately said, "We wanted to come attend, but I did not receive an invitation." We only came after hearing about it. Are you waiting for someone? Compared to Wanjing's sloppiness, Xue Mingxi appeared more steady. Tai Shuang was overjoyed in his heart. With a straight expression, he said, "Your servant is here specifically to greet the scattered star cultivators for this conference. Ladies, what are your names?" Wanjing. "This is your servant's woman, Mingxi." Wanjing introduced in turn. Xue Mingxi nodded. "Lady Mingxi's complexion is not too well. Did you encounter some trouble?" Just as Wanjing was about to speak, Xue Mingxi lowered her voice, and, along the way, we were accosted by an old man whose attack severely debilitated my vitality. We wonder if this banquet would welcome people like me. Wanjing felt this was odd. Xue Mingxi originally appeared very sickly, but the more she was like this, the more formidable she was. Why would she say that she was extremely weakened? We treat everyone equally. Tai Shuang nodded, even greater delight in his heart. The woman in front of him ought to be the Star Master. With her so weak, that Star General could not easily leave her side. The monster-slaying conference requires all Star Masters to unite. This is your servant Star General, iron-faced magistrate's clerk Pei Kaixien. Kaixien, let us escort them. Tai Shuang gave Pei Kaixien a glance. Pei Kaixien approached stiff-faced. Just at the instant she drew close, she suddenly revolted against Xue Mingxi. The three-star weapon in her hand, life-death yin-yang sword, released light, a dark technique, unexpected turn of events. The sword light became two fatal yin-yang strikes at Xue Mingxi. The girl's expression was pale, cut down by the twin swords. Pei Kaixien then transitioned in preparation to using her Earth rank Yama Raja law enforcement to kill Wanjing. According to the logic of the star duels, a star master that was injured would similarly feedback to the Star General. With Xue Mingxi dead, that Wanjing could not counter. Because Tai Shuang was heavily injured and very weak, Pei Kaixien also used full power, not daring to neglect anything. Yama Raja law enforcement directly surrounded Wanjing, but just as the earth technique was about to attack, all of a sudden, a white light exploded from Wanjing's body. Tai Shuang saw that Xue Mingxi waving a white banner, and his expression suddenly changed. Good and evil karma banner. You are the Star General, sick tiger. You have evil thoughts, do not blame me for dispatching you. Xue Mingxi indifferently said. The good and evil karma banner's earth rank evil has its retribution, flashed a white light. Pei Kaixien suddenly felt her body racked by intense pain. The earth rank she previously used against Wanjing immediately stalled. That earth rank was only half activated. But the Wanjing that was attacked had instead become even more ferocious. When Tai Shuang saw they had been deceived, he immediately used the 9-layered absolute destruction sword array, but the other lively and naive girl changed from her normal state, her hair standing on end. Damn you, die. Wanjing beckoned with her hand, and 10,000 arrows appeared in the space behind her. Those arrows were each unique in shape, each with their own merits. Astonishingly, this was the star weapon, under heaven arrow force. Tai Shuang was shocked. Speed star arrow hit Tiger Ding Di Sun, you are a Star General, too. The last Star General is here. Xue Mingxi waved her white banner. Ding Wanjing giggled. Earth rank, all stars kill moon. Ah! Tai Shuang screamed. The 10,000 arrows all fired. How could he have stopped this? All his hopes turned to dust, and he was frightened stiff. Originally, he had meticulously planned everything solely to become the overlord. After the heavenly books passed, this would be the great undertaking of his life, but then he took an arrow to the knee. Liked it? Dusk colored the sky, and the glow of sunset was like blood filling the horizon. Song Qingxi leaned on a railing at the Nine Dragons Palace, awaiting news from Heaven's Sun Mountain. In another secret room, 9 tattooed dragons and sword star Wanjiner were seizing the time to refine their 3 heavenly books. At this moment, a crimson star fell into her view. Song Qingxi knew that to make the Star Masters unite for a common purpose was an extremely difficult matter. What she was most anxious about was a malicious and arrogant Star Master seizing the chance to raise a hand against the other Star Masters to bolster their own strength. And what she was most anxious about had finally come to pass. Song Qingxi rose, her expression somewhat grim. The Li Longkue who had been nearby refining her 3 heavenly books also opened her eyes. Elder sister. Song Qingxi's brow was tightly wrinkled. Not long after, a piece of news arrived. A scattered star cultivator from the Vermilion Bird territory has arrived at Heaven's Sun Mountain with fair-skinned gentleman Zheng Yanran and started a fight with the others. Fair-skinned gentleman. Song Qingxi vaguely recalled that Dai Xingyue had described her once before. It seemed that little sister's Star Master was a very handsome beauty. However, considering that he had come from the Vermilion Bird territory, he ought to not have any relationship with the Purple Thunder monster in order to have obtained an invitation in the first place, but she never expected that little sister would be so outrageous, to take action in front of everyone's eyes. Was she the one who star fell? Song Qingxi asked. Wang Jingji replied, No, I hear this Zheng Yanran's martial arts are very formidable. She has surprisingly defeated Sua Qingshuang, Fan Ming, and more. This starfall seems to be in the vicinity of Heaven's Sun Mountain. Sister Xingyue has already gone to investigate. Hearing that this was not related to the banquet, Song Qingxi was clearly relieved. That Zheng Yanran is causing a ruckus. Elder sister, what do you feel? Her martial arts in this generation are exceptional. Let us wait and see for now. Song Qingxi thought. Gathering the Star Masters of the 4 territories together, each harbored evil designs. To have one target that concentrated malice was according to her plans. Elder sister. Wang Jingji continued. Song Qingxi said, Little sister, is there something else? We already have news about handsome star Song Qing that you requested we be mindful of. Wang Jingji said. She met with misfortune. Song Qingxi was quiet. Wang Jingji nodded and relayed Lady Snake Scorpion's words to Song Qingxi. The leader star showed grief. She had once searched for the handsome star's whereabouts in the Vermilion Bird territory, but Liangshan continent was so vast, to search for a single target was not easy. Even after discreet inquiries in so many directions, she never learned a thing. Although Song Qingxi had already prepared for the worst, to hear that handsome star Song Qing star fell instantly made her downcast. Elder sister. Elder sister. Wang Jingji called out. Li Longkue snorted. The tall woman lifted her bereaved immortal lofty slaughter and was about to walk outside. Longkue, stay. Song Qingxi returned to her senses and said in a low voice. Black Whirlwind Li Longkue turned around and said, Elder sister, Longkue will kill that snake scorpion woman to avenge little sister. Avenge? Song Qingxi forced a smiled, then will you kill Yen Wudao, Hu Mi, and the others, Longkue? Will you kill Su Xing? They are preventing elder sister from accomplishing her great undertaking. They should all die. Li Longkue's voice was like iron. Her determination actually made Song Qingxi gratified. If we could kill them, then we could go take revenge right now. But, shaking her head, the leader star's voice turned much gentler. But our strength right now is still not enough. Which of the 108 star generals is not our sister? Can killing those star generals avenge them? Then, elder sister, your meaning is? Ascend the mountain. We must ascend Maiden Mountain. Song Qingxi's picturesque pupils released an indescribable luster. Wang Jingji felt this was the leader star she wanted to see. What elder sister says is very sensible, Sister Longkue. Do not be impulsive, otherwise, we will have wasted the sacrifice of our sisters. Wang Jingji urged as well. Li Longkue ground her teeth, finally retracting the bereaved immortal lofty slaughter. However, elder sister, those star masters are all proud and arrogant. To forge the monster-slaying alliance, who shall take the lead? I fear it will be very difficult for elder brother Lu to do so. Wang Jingji was still somewhat worried about this. According to the plan, Song Qingci would not make an appearance at the monster-slaying conference, but those star masters would not cooperate without a leader. Song Qingci was also vexed over this. Just at this moment, a ray of golden light appeared out of thin air. The form of colored glass and the scent of lotus flowers manifested. Chao Gai emerged from within. Seeing her appear, Li Longkue, Wang Jingji, and the others were startled. Even the Shi Jingluan and Sword Star that were refining heavenly books in the secret room were disturbed and charged in. Leader Star Song Qingci was contrarily very calm. She smiled gracefully. Chao Gai, what brings you here? This one has come to help you this time. Chao Gai loftily said. Help your servant? Are you not afraid of breaking the Star Duel's rules? Song Qingci smiled and said. At this time, discussing rules was apparently somewhat ridiculous. In the 9th Star Duels, the so-called rules had already changed beyond recognition. Chao Gai smiled, this one does not want to. But breaking the rules is not out of the question this time. There is someone who will appear to help lead your monster-slaying alliance. Who? She has already gone there. She ought to be able to help you. However, the final result will depend on your own luck, Leader Star Protector of Righteousness Song Jiang. Chao Gai stared at her meaningfully before finally disappearing. Heaven's Sun Mountain. When Lu Tianya brought Dai Xingyue over in a rush, the banquet had already devolved into a mess. The scene appeared quite chaotic. The sight that entered his eyes was a young girl in white clothes and a golden chrysanthemum dress, with hair like snow, and a straight saber in her hand that similarly surpassed frost. He saw this girl's spry body techniques, her dazzling straight saber, the snow-white light from her sword tip, her flowing and calm movements. The one who faced her was the famous gold lancer Su Ning. Blade light flooded out. The armor on Su Ning released golden light, melting this saber chi away. Su Jingshu's hooked lance whistled about, fully displaying her spearmanship. Each attack was like a swelling tide, shaking the banquet. Your distinguished self has formidable saber technique. To think that you were surprisingly the different star, truly exceptional. Su Jingshu fought with immense fulfillment, laughing aloud. Zheng Yanran's eyes were tranquil, continuously catching Su Jingshu's spear attacks. Su Jingshu suddenly thrust her spear, brushing across Zheng Yanran's right side. The different star's feet slid, and she gripped her saber's hilt. She countered with a saber drawing water breaking. Saber light flowed out directly, hacking upon Su Jingshu's armor. If she was a normal star general, this attack would have already injured her, but the gold lancer who possessed the goose feather ring gold armor and a powerful defensive innate skill was merely jolted. Zheng Yanran snorted, spinning to continue her assault. Zheng Yanran was a challenger. The other star masters were all spectating, watching the show. This must be an abnormal earthly star. What powerful martial force. Biluo, are you alright? Yan Wudao gazed at Featherless Arrow. Zhang Biluo had been defeated by Zheng Yanran, but that was because that accursed fair-skinned gentleman suddenly launched a sneak attack on her. Zhang Biluo was too late to defend and was cut down. Normally, she would want to test a concealed weapon sneak attack, and this nearly drove Zhang Biluo mad. If this was not a banquet for facing the Purple Thunder monster, Yan Wudao would have already taken action. Of course, not only Featherless Arrow, but Zhao Heng Star General Impatient Vanguard Suoqing Shuang, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demons Demon King of Chaos Fan Ming, Gong Song Stream Leaping Tiger Chen Zhanlu and more were all defeated. The other star masters were captivated by Zheng Yanran's gorgeous figure. The girl's snow-white hair and fluttering clothes filled their eyes. Schwanger, How many blows do you feel you need to be able to defeat her? Xie Chang'an asked. 5 tigers. General Huyen Shuang pursed her lips. She is a competitive little sister. I am a bit reluctant to defeat her. However, he is surprisingly able to trade blows with Su Jingshu for so long. This is very impressive. Huyen Shuang had an unprecedented 6-star destined weapon. In this banquet, she could practically be said to be unequaled. The sole person who Huyen Shuang might be some trouble was only Su Jingshu. Regardless of whether it was Gold Lancer or her Star Master Humi, both were formidable opponents. If they could kill the Purple Thunder monster, there would be no doubt that she would then be the greatest hurdle. Huyen Shuang was also carefully watching Su Jingshu and Zheng Yanran's battle, unsure if this Su Jingshu was holding back or something. Although she was somewhat unfathomable, the two of them fought with exceptional brilliance, making everyone treat this as a show in the banquet. They watched with great satisfaction, so much so that they overlooked Zheng Yanran's stern gaze. Please stop, you two. Lu Tianya interrupted them, but seeing that their martial arts were extraordinary, this sword saint hesitated a moment, not daring to act. This is not the time to be fighting. Lu Tianya called out loudly. Jingshu. Humi said softly. The Su Jingshu who had just suppressed Zheng Yanran curled the corner of her lips. Little sister's martial arts are pretty good. Your servant shall end the lesson here for now. Saying this, she withdrew. Zheng Yanran coldly said, then Yanran shall see you off. Saber light flashed, drawing an erratic, ribbon-like flash. It exploded with a bang against Su Jingshu's shoulder. The woman was startled, looking flabbergasted at an ice-cold slash wound across her shoulder. But Gold Lancer merely smiled and then nodded, spotting a difference in Zheng Yanran's step. She did not retaliate, instead, slowly retreating to Humi's side. Humph. Zheng Yanran stopped and sheathed her blade. Ladies, you two are truly in good spirits. In the future, we must face the Purple Thunder monster. Opportunities to learn from each other will still be ample later. Right now, we must properly sit down and discuss this monster-slaying conference. Lu Tianya showed a self-confident smile. Ha, 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 you are the leader of the monster-slaying conference. Respect, respect. Fong Xiangu cupped his fist. Your servant is indebted to everyone for coming. Lu Tianya looked all around the banquet and saw that most everyone had arrived. Just as he was about to speak about the monster-slaying conference, suddenly, Zheng Yanran walked over with footwork like running water. Wait up, Yanran has a question to ask you. What question? The 7 Stars Assembly altogether has 7 people. The Purple Thunder monster is only one person. Is he worth us working together to kill him? Zheng Yanran gripped her saber's hilt, speaking as she stepped forth. Indeed, but only one overlord can be at the top of Maiden Mountain. What point is there in the 7 Stars Assembly? Everyone must agrees with your servant's words. Lu Tianya asked. Everyone agreed. Yanran actually feels that Purple Thunder monster may not necessarily care to be the overlord at all. Are Lin Chong and Wu Song following him not the greatest evidence? Yanran does not believe they follow him simply for this overlord title. Cousin, what say you? Zheng Yanran turned her head and sweetly smiled. Cousin, your words make sense. Your servant also thinks this is the case. Fong Xiangu nodded. How can you have faith in that monster? Lu Tianya sneered. Yanran has a way to make him have faith. What way? Zheng Yanran's smile was like a flower, full of charm. The girl suddenly drew her blade, saber light erupting at once. Snow light flowed in all directions, and an extreme cold froze the entire area's time and space. Lu Tianya has moved unhindered his entire life, but he was unable to match the girl's draw speed. A white line like a tidal wave passed in his eyes. The wings of true phoenix sprouted from Zheng Yanran's snow-like back, her rampage 100 times more arrogant. The girl gently curled her red lips. Lu Tianya heard the four last, as well as the four most hair-raising, ice-cold words in this life. True Phoenix Realm, Earth Rank. No snow under heaven. Liked it? Although this attack was abrupt, the Supervoid Sword Saint Lu Tianya was not without defenses. He had merely miscalculated completely that the different star would surprisingly be able to reach True Phoenix Realm. When Zheng Yanran's blade approached, the Supervoid Sword Saint's vigilance and defenses became futile and ridiculous. The snowy saber light passed through his neck, sending Lu Tianya's head flying high above his body. In a split second, Lu Tianya's line of sight beheld an unprecedented, tall and far view. In the far-off direction of Maiden Mountain, those eyes seemingly caught sight once more of the previous Star Duel's leader Star Song Yoyu, the moment of her magnificent dance and glittering death. It was at that moment he made his aspiration. He would personally send Song Qingxi up Maiden Mountain. He would not even hesitate to become her stepping stone to do it. The Star Duels were filled with danger at every step. Burying countless delusions and fantasies, Lu Tianya in the end was unable to achieve his wish. He was simply another person buried among many others. And the fair-skinned gentleman Zheng Yanran coolly and mockingly left him one final message. "I'll be borrowing your head." Zheng Yanran sheathed her blade. Lu Tianya lost his life. Dai Xingyue was scared witless, unsure of what to do. Zheng Yanran coldly scowled, attacking with another, saber-drawing water-breaking. Dai Xingyue was very swift with her reactions, fleeing with her formidable speed, but she was still heavily injured by this attack. Before Zheng Yanran could give chase, at this moment, the others got up in a flash. If it could be said they treated fair-skinned gentlemen's previous fights a moment prior as entertainment for the banquet, then at this moment, when the girl exposed her True Phoenix Realm, all Star Masters present were in awe. True Phoenix Realm. How is this possible? She has refined a former volume heavenly book. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon, Yi Futu, and others swiftly reacted. At the moment Lu Tianya's head fell, Li Xiangfei, Hao Bingxin and the other star generals immediately took action. The Star Masters themselves utilized their sword chance. Zheng Yanran, who had killed the monster-slaying conference's organizer, revealed a sneer of satisfaction. She was very aware that she alone was unable to contend against all the Star Masters here. After she grabbed the head, she said without a moment's hesitation, "Cousin, let's beat it." Fong Xiangu had long been prepared for this. When he received the invitation for the monster-slaying conference, he and Zheng Yanran had already planned to kill the monster-slaying conference's leader. After all, Fong Xiangu was well aware of Su Xing's identity as the legendary and fearsome Purple Thunder monster. In his own perspective, he was more inclined to believe the title of Purple Thunder Saint. His Divine Travel Heaven-Earth Talisman activated. Clear light flashed, and Fong Xiangu and Zheng Yanran escaped down Heaven's Sun Mountain. "Where are you running?" The Rock Demon King roared, activating his great rock flies across 90,000 li to give chase. The others drew their blades one after another in pursuit of Fong Xiangu. The bustling monster-slaying conference very quickly became cold and cheerless, leaving only two aloof people. One was the Purple Firmament's immortal palace's Humi, and the other was Xian Lao, who was as immovable as a mountain. "Humi!" Su Jingshu called in a low voice. Humi wrinkled her brow tightly. She glanced at Xian Lao then whispered. "This different star has surprisingly reached True Phoenix Realm. That she would surprisingly stand on Su Xing's side is inconceivable. With this monster-slaying conference's leader dead, it appears that it will become a sheet of loose sand, fraught with internecine strife." Jingshu, Su Jingshu was silent for a moment then nodded. Since this monster-slaying conference was unable to be realized, then they could only throw their lot in with the Purple Thunder monster. Just as Humi rose to leave for this reason, all of a sudden, a powerful outburst exploded at the bottom of the mountain. A magnificent True Phoenix wing fanned out, stronger than Zheng Yanran's by several fold. Who me? Su Jingshu and Humi glanced at each other in dismay. Let us go look. Humi waved her sleeve. Purple clouds gathered, and she rushed down the mountain. Xian Lao was still expressionless, but General of Heavenly Vision Ping Fei had already come out of the star nest. The girl activated her heavenly vision and stared down the mountain. She was suddenly astounded. What is that person? Fong Xian Gu had activated the Divine Travel Heaven-Earth Talisman. Even the Rock Demon King could not easily sense him. And with Jing Yanran's true Phoenix realm, even if he caught up, he would have to be careful. As planned, although Fong Xian Gu's cultivation was only supercluster stage, he escaped very successfully. A crowd of insignificants bothered raising a ruckus about monster slaying. Jing Yanran was disdainful when she spotted the foot of the mountain. At this moment, a white shadow scuttled over without warning. This white shadow was abnormally fast. If it was not for Jing Yanran's completely unleashed true Phoenix realm, she would have been struck. The girl countered with her saber when she saw a white and red staff. Staff and saber clashed, like a surge of drumbeats. The Jing Yanran that initially thought she could repel the attacker with one attack immediately perceived a powerful force transmitted through the staff. Jing Yanran showed a bit of astonishment. Her clothes fluttered as she glided backwards. A tall and beautiful woman descended, standing before her. Pay murder with life, this is heaven's law and earth's principle. To run off like this, I cannot abide. That woman was as beautiful as snow lotuses, unstained by dust. Her legs were slender, like beautiful jade. White clothing of silk thin as a cicada's wings wrapped her body, making her jade body vaguely visible and flowing with allure. On the woman's back was a flaring true Phoenix realm wing. Clearly, she was a star general. But the staff in the woman's hand had no name at all in Jing Yanran's memory. Who are you? Jing Yanran subconsciously asked. The woman slightly smiled, breathtaking. Seeing her not reply, Jing Yanran sneered, Yanran shall see what capability you have for heaven's law and earth's principles. Although the opponent's realm was higher than hers, Jing Yanran was contrarily even more excited. Her hand gripping the jade dragon misfortunate snow, her body techniques shifted. Saber light as biting cold as the rain sprinkled down. The woman raised her staff to meet it. Saber and staff issued sparks. The two traded a dozen blows. The woman appeared very easygoing, but to leisurely take Jing Yanran's chilling swordsmanship was nevertheless not too easy. As an earthly star, to have this level of martial arts, you are impressive. But it is a pity that you have hurt yourself by following a useless sissy. With these words, the staff swept out. Killing intent surged and drew Jing Yanran in. The staff techniques passed like phantoms, and Jing Yanran was unable to ward them off, being struck consecutively. Hey! Jing Yanran grit her teeth, slashing again. But the instant her sword tip touched the woman, the opponent's body seemed to become like a feather, brushing past. This made Jing Yanran's attack that seemed to hit actually land on nothing. What body techniques are these, to surprisingly evade her true Phoenix realm attack? A layer of cold sweat flowed from Jing Yanran. Yanran shall pay with her life here. Next time, it will be your turn. Jing Yanran sneered. The woman smiled and said, Your open-mindedness in seeking martial arts instruction impresses me. What a pity that you nevertheless chose the wrong person. Although that purple thunder monster is strong, he is doomed to be destroyed. Jing Yanran disdainfully snorted. The woman's hand gripped her staff, suddenly shooting forward like an arrow. There is no next time. Jing Yanran suddenly felt foreboding. Her straight saber swiftly slashed, a cold and elegant as snow saber light filling the world. But her opponent quickly evaded, still leaping past Jing Yanran and mercilessly fighting her. Then, she shook her staff. Two rays of qi flew out from left and right, closing in like a net. Dark rank, 2 character heart weight. There was the sound of bone breaking. The staff chi directly knocked a person out of invisibility. Astonishingly, it was Fong Xiangu. Although his divine travel heaven-earth talisman speed was extremely formidable, it nevertheless did not hide him from her eyes. The spiritual power in Fong Xiangu's body dissipated. He felt dizzy. Cousin. Zheng Yanran's face paled. The woman nevertheless did not finish Fong Xiangu off. I do not kill women. Her staff rose, flinging Fong Xiangu high. No snow under heaven. Zheng Yanran drew her saber, uttering a thunderous roar. The world seemed to freeze. The woman stared and shook her head. A pity you misfollowed a useless master. When Fong Xiangu was tossed into the air, the Rock Demon King and Holy Lord of Draconic Demon were already rushing over. Although the woman did not kill Fong Xiangu, she would not allow a menacing martial general like her to leave. She merely left the generous gift of a Star Master to the others. To kill a true Phoenix Realm martial general's contractor was undoubtedly enticing for any Star Master. No one would let go of this opportunity. Suddenly, evil faces welcomed him, showing malevolent expressions. Each contractor and cultivator spared no effort to increase their strength. Everyone used full power to kill Fong Xiangu. Great Rock catches dragon. The Rock Demon King pushed a palm out, sucking Fong Xiangu into his palm to hand over to Lady Snake Scorpion. He was able to seize the initiative with his powerful Super Void Peak cultivation power. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon, Yen Wudao, and Xie Zhenyuan's flying swords followed close behind, unwilling to give up. Just as Fong Xiangu was in the Rock Demon King's clutches, this world abruptly dimmed and drained of color. Countless ghosts suddenly emerged, filling the universe. The Rock Demon King's power seized a bunch of these specters. Sensing that these ghosts surprisingly had the power to consume his mind, the Rock Demon King evaded in shock. Black chi poured in every direction, instantly wrapping around Fong Xiangu. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon and others' powerful flying swords could only stand by, not daring to approach. 10,000 Souls Parasol. The Rock Demon King's complexion was ashen. Everyone turned their heads to look. They saw a slightly charming girl in black clothes with vein patterns gracefully open a parasol. Her hands were white, her cheeks rosy, and her black eyes glinting. She was quite dazzling. Su Xingxiang. When the 10,000 Souls parasol emerged, the others did not dare contest her. If they were not careful, they would be devoured by the 10,000 souls, a gain that did not make up for the losses. Cousin, run away. Fong Xiangu's face was drained of color. With his supercluster cultivation, there was no way for him to break free of the 10,000 parasols. He cast Zheng Yanran a worried glance and was suddenly rolled in by black souls. Su Xingxiang closed the parasol. The evening sky was the color of blood, but Fong Xiangu was already no more. Zheng Yanran vomited blood. Her figure tottered, and she knew that Fong Xiangu had met his end. No snow, under, Zheng Yanran tearfully drew her saber and slashed at the woman in white. If it was not for her sudden appearance, the entire plan would have been quite perfect. The tall and graceful woman pursed her red lips. Her jade body swayed, her white clothes fluttered, meeting the different stars completely imposing / without fluster. I am Heavenly Scholar Star Scholar in a white robe Wang Luan, Wang Lingji. Remember this. Wang Luan. When Humi reached the foot of the mountain, the scene that greeted her was the instant Su Xingxiang opened the 10,000 souls parasol to absorb Fong Xiangu. The fox of voracious admiration had just been about to intervene. When she heard Wang Luan's name, she forcibly suppressed her sudden astonishment, freezing on the spot. Heavenly Scholar Star Wang Luan. Scholar in a white robe, what is going on? Maiden Mountain had a star general like this? Everyone froze, breaking out into cold sweat, staring at Wang Lingji half convinced, half skeptical. They did not dare be careless. Wan Lingji ended her smile. From this moment forth, allow me to lead the monster-slaying conference. I will train your martial generals to true Phoenix realm, and, without this realm, facing Lin Chong and Wu Song would be the joke of the heavens. Everyone was shaken. Meanwhile, far, far to the east, atop a magnificent and enormous palace over the 9 firmaments, the Su Xing that had just finished refining the former volume Heavenly Book quietly opened his eyes from his meditation. Liked it? Relying on his abnormal star nest divine intent, Su Xing very quickly refined the former volume Heavenly Book. Right now, his cultivation had already reached supervoid peak. Across the previous star duels, he was one of its most outstanding. With strength like this, ascending Maiden Mountain was in the bag, but Su Xing did not feel at ease nor did he believe victory to be in his grasp. Following the heavenly books, a crimson star fell. In his mind, there was a slight haze that he was unable to brush away. After leaving seclusion, the Longevity Palace was still methodically expanding towards the final summit. Seeing Su Xing come out, the girls were delighted. Family head, you refined your heavenly book so quickly. Female tiger Gu Tong walked over while holding Tang Tang. She meticulously lowered her voice, appearing very gentle. Ever since she became his woman, Gu Tong retracted her shrewish personality. However, this was something inevitable, for even Lin Yingmei and Wuxia treated Su Xing with the utmost respect, their tones smooth. Gu Tong felt her own bellows were quite lacking in confidence. However, she did not know that because she was Tung Tung's mother, all of the girls knowingly smiled at her swift and decisive personality. On the contrary, Tang Tang again called Su Xing Papa, making sure Yuan enviously and remorsefully say, in any case, this young lady is Su Xing's 3rd star general. Now there are more than 13, and Su Xing even has a kid. This young lady is still virgin. I'm already at a bottleneck. Su Xing smiled. Tang Tang reached out with her adorable arms, wanting to hug her father. Gu Tong then carefully passed by Yutong into Su Xing's embrace. Female tiger's expression was always filled with a mother's love whenever she looked at Tang Tang. From an outsider's perspective, she and Su Xing were honestly a family. Xinjie somewhat understands why Yuaner is so brooding. Wu Xinjie giggled. Brooding about what? Su Xing curiously asked. Wu Xinjie smiled and said, brooding about not becoming true husband and wife with young lord. We are not true husband and wife either. Gu Tong muttered, somewhat wronged. There will be lots of time for that in the future. Su Xing listened helplessly. How could he not think about this, but they were already at the 7 stars assembly phase. Even if he wanted it any more than he already did, he needed to endure. Heaven knew what tricks that Maiden Mountain would pull, and thief star Shi Yuan had no sense of danger. Leaving her star nest intact greatly relieved Su Xing, Yuana knows, in fact. Right now, she is always making Suan go comprehend heaven rank. Little sister Suan is worried to death. Wu Xinjie said as she paced. Why is her making sister Suan comprehend heaven rank worrying? Gu Tong did not understand. She must be thinking of repairing the star nest. Su Xing rolled his eyes. How could he not know what Shi Yuan was thinking? Wu Xinjie covered her grin. This can allow us to do husband and wife things with young lord without restraint. Gu Tong blushed, inwardly asking what sort of man this was, to surprisingly give a star general the idea of losing her virginity. From now on, she must carefully supervise Tang Tang. Tang Tang was so small, she could not be led astray by this profanity. No wonder Suan is so worried. Using a heaven rank to repair the star nest. Su Xing and Wu Xinjie said as they walked to the Longevity Palace's courtyard. Silk-like flowing clouds covered the Jade Palace. Faint spirit light shone upon the Longevity Hall's complete flawlessness and abundant magic energy. Amidst the immortal light, girls of unique and outstanding beauty were waving spear, or shooting arrows, or reading in the courtyard, practicing their abilities. Young lord, your 5-element sword should already have been forged. Wu Xinjie said. Young lord has just left seclusion. You should meet with the first wife. Just what I was thinking. Su Xing then said to Tang Tang, Tang Tang, Papa is going to greet Mama Yingmei now. I'll come hold you later. Tang Tang obediently assented, clasping and kissing Su Xing on the cheek. When he handed the little loli over to Gu Tong, Su Xing saw that female tiger still somewhat reluctant to part and bashful appearance. He craftily blinked, wife of the family head, won't you kiss your lord husband? Gu Tong gasped. You have so many of the sisters and you still scorn this old lady. Gu Tong quietly said. Although she said this, Gu Tong still kissed Su Xing passionately. Then, Su Xing kissed Wu Xinjie and finally walked over to Lin Yingmei, Wu Xiao, Yan Yizhen, and Hun Yangzi's sparring field. Yingmei, Xiao, how is your training? Su Xing asked. Young master. Lin Yingmei stopped her battle and slightly nodded. Progress is slow. Wu Xiao replied. Star General sparring could increase their realm, but there were limits to increasing realm by fighting without killing intent. Even with martial arts that were any more proficient, in the end, there was honestly no way to display this without killing intent. However, this could not be blamed on Yingmei. To have her spear direct full killing intent against her sisters, anyone else would also be unable to do so. Su Xing then inquired about their heavenly book refinements. Because she did not have a star nest, refinement was more difficult than usual. Although Yan Yizhen and Gongsun Huang had star nests, because Su Xing's contracts were too numerous, their star energy distribution slowed their progress considerably compared to other star masters. However, this was not really a big problem. Refining heavenly books in the Longevity Palace was merely a matter of time. The sole exception being Lin Yingmei, whose realm was the highest, her refinement of the former volume heavenly books was much faster. Presently, she was already nearly finished refining the first former volume heavenly book. By that time, who knew whether this heavenly book would allow her to comprehend heaven rank or upgrade her star weapon or realm? Su Xing bid each of the wives luck, to have them allow their husband to shower them with tender love. You must not lead Tang Tang astray. Gu Tong badgered with a red face. Shi Yuan's ears were sensitive, and she dashed over in surprise, seriously. Seriously. Slave servant is ready to obey master's wishes. Yan Yizhen apathetically assented. Milord, we are about to scale the peak. This kind of matter, Hua Wanyue was taken aback. What are you thinking of? Seeing little Huang show a rare blush, winking at those ambiguously moist eyes, Su Xing joked. The tenderness I spoke of is this. Waving his hand, a halo flew out and spiraled behind him. Those were frost-like flying swords, glittering, flowing with a chilly breeze. The entire length of the sword was carved with a qilin, reclining at the tip and emitting a cold air. Blue light slowly coursed around. The surroundings were full of ice and frost, showing a wintry scene. Two pure and sparkling words were carved into the hilt. Frost powder. Young master, your water element swords are already forged. Lin Yingmei asked, gratified. Su Xing slightly smiled. Using the 10,000-year black ice to forge one flying sword spent most of his energy. This kind of extreme cold object would inflict damage even while using divine intent control. He struggled through forging the 12 water element frost powder swords after Supervoid Peak. With this, the heavenly spirit earthly fiend purple star 5 element swords were all finally completed. Su Xing then moved his divine intent. Metal element heaven tearing, wood element Langya, fire element Jian feather, and earth element time immemorial emerged in succession. Yingmei, are you ready to receive Lord Husband's love? Your servant looks forward to a long while. Lin Yingmei gripped her spear, the corner of her mouth curling. Wu Xinjie watched the fight and then said to Gong Kaiwei and Shiyu, immortal hero princess, Xiyu, do you not want to go spar with Ingmei? The experience of a true Phoenix Realm martial general is but very rare. Xiyu forced a smile and shook her head. She had no talent for martial arts to speak of. Even with the most Yang divine fire, Vermilion Jian clinging fire, she would perhaps have no way to inhibit Lin Yingmei's 5-star Arctic Star Serpent Spear. Then, please excuse Kai Wei. Gong Kai Wei brought out the tracing snow sword. Her body techniques moved, her white clothes fluttered, and she instantly joined in the spar. I also want to love milord. Hua Wanyue laughed, firing an arrow. The arrow brushed past Su Xing's cheek. That's the best. Su Xing smiled. He glanced at Gong Kai Wei. They nodded, their coordination perfect. Wuxia walked to the side, staring at the scenes of the longevity palace she was long accustomed to. She saw Wu Xinjie was slightly concerned and gently asked, Wu Xinjie, has Maiden Mountain still not shown signs of activity? Chao Gai. N. Chao Gai said she would confer unto young lord a calamity. Now, young lord has already refined his heavenly book, and still Xinjie does not see any signs. Wu Xinjie affirmed. If Chao Gai dares come for this calamity, your concubine shall make her suffer through your concubine's calamity. Wu Xio glowered. After refining their 3 heavenly books, everyone believed they could face Chao Gai working together. Wu Xinjie smiled. Xinjie has always felt Chao Gai is helping young lord. Wu Xinjie pursed her lips, unconvinced. Most recently, there have been consecutive starfalls. Xinjie is a bit uneasy. Leader Star Song Qingxi's uprising is also an anomaly of the 9th generation. This ascent will perhaps be difficult. Wu Xinjie sighed. Wu Xio was quiet. Lord Husband also sees this point, which is why he so anxiously seeks Ingmei to improve his martial arts. Right now, Lord Husband's martial arts have made significant progress, and his cultivation is also at a peak. Nature is taking its course. Xio is truly optimistic. Wu Xinjie dubiously winked. Want to go love Lord Husband together with Xinjie tonight? If nature is taking its course, you will not refuse, Xio. If you can convince Lord Husband, then your concubine shall accompany you for action once. Wu Xio fiddled with a strand of hair laying in front of her chest. Her long hair reached past her but, her figure was fair, wonderfully supple, and those especially boundless and starry eyes were inescapable. Wu Xinjie was dispirited. Having known each other for so long, she nearly neglected that the pilgrim did not need either a frown or smile to chill all things. No. This Xinjie will definitely think of a way to convince Lord Husband to taste the pilgrim's softness. They must service him. After sparring with Ingmei and the others, Su Xing then had a long course of sex with Ingmei in the bath. All the pores in his body from head to toe fully opened. Returning from the bath, as he passed through a corridor, he spotted the blankly staring Chai Ling holding Xinger. In front of the noble star, a former volume heavenly book floated. Linger, what are you doing here? Su Xing's voice startled Chai Ling. The jiggles of her lofty snowy peaks that lay beneath her taut white bodice was quite a spectacular sight, making the post-ecstasy Su Xing once again stir. Chai Ling used her fan to cover her mouth, a proud curve upon her lips. Your eyes are already staring, why not extend your hand? Su Xing stretched out, but the 3-eyed wealth-inviting beast bluntly bit his finger. This sight made Chai Ling unable to help but laugh. Xinger, you are hurting this palace. What were you thinking just now? Su Xing asked. This palace is thinking about how to bathe. What do you mean how? Don't you just undress and scrub your body? Su Xing shrugged. Seeing Chai Ling was tongue-tied, he suddenly grinned. Linger, you can't have needed the services of Jinji and Yuye to bathe yourself back at the Great Circle Castle. This was always the duty of a maid. Chai Ling stared. The Longevity Palace does not have maids. Su Xing teased. Chai Ling's eyes rolled. She suddenly showed a charming expression. This place does not have maids, but it does have Xinger. You want to make a cat help bathe you? Su Xing truly envied this little cat. This palace was referring to you, Xinger. Chai Ling blushed as she uttered this. Liked it? Linger, your meaning is that you want to make me help wash you? A married couple's bath? Su Xing seemingly smiled, with a kind of indescribable ambiguity. It is your good fortune that this palace will let you serve her. Chai Ling moved the fan to conceal the unease in her heart. Su Xing walked over and grabbed Chai Ling's slim hand, carefully caressing her. This supple skin absolutely could make any man in the world desire to draw near, let alone, the owner of these slender jade hands would be completely naked. Just thinking of the haughty Her Highness Queen Noble Star exposing her most secret places was enough to send a man over the edge. Su Xing believed that he was not wicked nor a wolf. If anything happened while she was willing, then that would be inevitable and natural, so his response was, no. The Chai Ling who was being gently stroked by Su Xing was just in the middle of being eager, but when she suddenly heard this reply, she was momentarily unable to react. Come again. Chai Ling's bashfulness turned into fury. Maybe if you sign a contract with me. Otherwise, I won't do something so dubious. Su Xing made clear his intentions, immediately saying without a choice, Linger, you obviously know I really want to sign a contract with you. Just how long do you plan to keep on waiting? When you scale Maiden Mountain and fight, you will inevitably face danger on all sides, be brought to the brink of death. At that time, Your Highness Queen, must you jinx me like this? Su Xing blushed furiously upon hearing this. Danger on all sides, on the brink of death, if he worked with Zhao Hanyan and the others with his current strength, he had no need to fear an alliance of the other Star Masters in the 9th Star Duels. Chai Ling snorted, her expression extremely derisive. Those eyes seemed to say, my dear Xinger, in what battle did you not face such a situation? Su Xing cursed under his breath, unable to refute this. Chai Ling laughed, this is the first contract that the Noble Star will sign across 9-star duels. Can it be you will not allow this palace to be expectant? I fear there's no way to satisfy you. Su Xing firmly answered. Chai Ling was silent. Su Xing asked, were you looking at your former volume Heavenly Book just now? What, haven't refined it yet? The Noble Star's smile suddenly retracted a bit. Her brow wrinkled, and she looked silently at Su Xing, hesitating to speak. Su Xing guessed that this proud queen was again thinking over those trifling matters. I already made clear to you that I don't want this Heavenly Book. Refine it for yourself. If you still believe in me, do this for me. But, Chai Ling knew Su Xing's current cultivation had already reached the peak of Supervoid late stage. The distance to transforming Star of Annihilation was but a single step. Across the 9-star duels, never has there been a single Star Master that was able to reach transforming Star of Annihilation before scaling the mountain. If Su Xing could do so, then he would inevitably leave his name behind in Liangshan continent's history. The problem was that transforming Star of Annihilation was a legend in Liangshan continent. Those who comprehended it were exceedingly rare. This was why former volume Heavenly Books became the most coveted objects for peak cultivators. Currently, although there were many former volume Heavenly Books inside the Longevity Palace, they were extremely precious. Lin Yingmei and the others did not mind at all handing their own Heavenly Books to their lord husband, but Su Xing nevertheless would never accept this. In his perspective, they served better use increasing Lin Yingmei and the others' strength instead of comprehending transforming Star of Annihilation for himself. This was also the perspective of Wu Xinjie and the others. And the problem that was currently placed in front of Chai Ling. As the first Noble Star Little Whirlwind to join the Star Duels, she could not decide whether this former volume Heavenly Book should be used for herself or given to Xinger. This made her hesitate indefinitely because no one knew what use there even was for the noble star to comprehend a heavenly book. The noble star did not even have any heaven, earth, dark, yellow techniques. Regardless of realm advancement or heaven rank, it seemed of little value. No buts. This heavenly book is the noble star's very first former volume heavenly book. Not only does it represent you, Chai Ling, it also represents the 9 previous noble stars. If you don't personally look at this former volume heavenly book, wouldn't that be the regret of a lifetime? Su Xing smiled and said. Seeing that Chai Ling was not at all convinced, Su Xing then said, I know you're worried about me, Linger. I can accept this kindness. Or are you saying that you feel this way because you think the heavenly book is useless to you, Chai Ling, that I should take your heavenly book as insurance for myself? Am I so selfish? Is that what you think? If not, then refine it. I'm quite eager to see what will happen when you fully grasp the heavenly book, Linger. Chai Ling gently bit her red lips. Her gaze alluringly let out a tear. She only felt that her heartbeat that had just calmed was suddenly accelerating again. Your words make this palace want to sign a contract with you right now. Then let's immediately contract. Su Xing smoothly embraced her and lowered his head. Chai Ling gasped and had her lips tyrannically seized by the man. Their tongues intertwined, and the queen's body went limp. There was a sound in her mind that continually wanted to break out of her chest. Sign a contract, just sign a contract with this man, do not mind the reputation of the noble star. Chai Ling firmly suppressed this urge. The two of them kissed. Su Xing wanted to soften her, and his hands again became wicked. His left hand wrapped around the queen's waist while his right climbed backwards to knead her supple butt. Then, his left hand very naturally drew back and extended into Chai Ling's white bodice. Just as he was about to profane those towering breasts, the three-eyed wealth-inviting beast yowled, scratching Su Xing with its claw. Su Xing had not been on guard. He recoiled in pain. Little Whirlwind returned to her senses. Giggling, she drew back. Su Xing looked at the claw mark on the back of his hand and then glared at the accursed cat. This palace does not care for the noble star's reputation at all. Chai Ling stared, suddenly blurting this out without thinking. Su Xing knowingly smiled, I know. Chai Ling also smiled, recovering her prior lofty graceful and arrogant bearing. This palace truly needs someone to serve in the bath. If it is you, Xinger, this palace will naturally reward you with even more. Of course, you will have to blindfold yourself. And do not even think of taking advantage of this palace. At that time, I will have to punish you on the spot. Su Xing shook his head, regretfully saying. The dual cultivation I've been training is somewhat unmanageable recently, so for something as good as this, I can only give up on for now. Just thinking of seeing Chai Ling nude, even if he blindfolded his eyes, it would be somewhat involuntary. By then, he would be bursting. This desire was not as easily controlled as back then with the dragon's fluids. No, I must go seek out Shaking and listen to her dharma. Chai Ling was taken aback, not expecting that Su Xing would surprisingly still have this much resistance. She could not help but smile. But there is someone who is even more skilled than I in helping you bathe, Su Xing called out. Little E. From the space behind him, Yan Yizhen quietly emerged, making Chai Ling's smile freeze. Master. Yan Yizhen respectfully bowed. Did you hear our conversation just now? I. Go help bathe Linger, and be a bit more gentle to her. Su Xing looked at Chai Ling. Linger, Little Yi's technique is superb. We've bathed numerous times together already. You're sure to like it. No need for this palace. Chai Ling pulled the corners of her mouth into an awkward smile. She knew that the skillful star was very skilled in service, but every night in the Longevity Palace, she gave blowjobs. Heaven knew how lewd this wanderer while serving people. Su Xing even mentioned a moment ago that the two of them had bathed many times. Perhaps, those sessions were not so pure. Don't be shy. My dear little E, make Chai Ling spotless. Later, let's chat again. Yan Yizhen nodded. You swindler, you clearly even said dual cultivation was unmanageable. To make little E come, can it be that you disdain this palace? This palace has not even been touched by a man before. Chai Ling angrily said. I didn't swindle you. It's just that little E has the yin-yang carps, they can harmonize with the way of yin and yang. Su Xing shook his head. But Chai Ling clearly could discern that Yan Yizhen was still virgin. Su Xing felt guilty and wiped his sweat. Yan Yizhen's apathetic expression showed a rare red hue. The odd atmosphere seemed to sound like Su Xing was saying something like alternative approach, or something of that effect. Chai Ling was baffled, but Su Xing did not want to continue haggling with Chai Ling, shooting her a look. Yan Yizhen then seized Chai Ling by the shoulder. She would not allow the noble star to decline inside the Longevity Palace. This palace hates you to death. Far away, through the mist, came the girl's resentful voice. After Yan Yizhen carried Chai Ling into the bath, Lin Yingmei finally walked out from another bathroom. Young master, why not accept Chai Ling's good intentions? Yingmei, don't tell me I'm a horny brute in your mind. Su Xing suffered an enormous blow. Lin Yingmei pursed her lips and smiled. Your servant can see that Chai Ling's invitation just then required great courage. I know, and that's even more reason why I couldn't accept it. Su Xing said. Lin Yingmei. It's only because she feels that refining her former volume Heavenly Book for herself is something selfish that she would think of using her body to compensate me. Su Xing stared at Lin Yingmei. He softly said, if I actually accepted it, that would be a sort of shame between the two of us. Chai Ling also has gone through some trouble. Lin Yingmei sighed. Yingmei, in actuality, I've already thought of a way to grasp transforming Star of Annihilation without using a heavenly book. Su Xing's expression was mysterious as he winked. May your servant know what that method is? Lin Yingmei wrinkled her brow. Of course, but, Su Xing wrapped his arm around Lin Yingmei's waist, and Lin Yingmei's arms subconsciously wrapped around Su Xing's neck. Let's go take a bath together first, then I'll tell you. The ears of the Lin Yingmei who had only just made love with Su Xing in the bath once again burned. She grunted in agreement. 7 Worthies Village. The 4 great generals Xian, Lang, Shu, De were still as they were, waiting idly for opportunity. Pang Shu pulled on the string of her enormous bow. There was no arrow knocked, but she released the string. A biting cold wind arrow directly roared out with an enormous noise, blowing 7 Worthies forest into a miss. So boring, so boring. Pang Shu dispiritedly tugged her bow, turning her head to look at her squinting elder sister that was drilling with a sword. Sister Xian, we may as well directly launch an attack. Enough waiting, these star generals will not last a single blow anyways. Do not bully those little sisters. Some of them starfell just now, did they not? Truly interesting, the form of those starfalls is the same as in Star World. The woman wearing a blue dragon patterned super short skirt that only covered down to the fork of her legs showed a charming expression. She played with her fingernails as she spoke, a passive appearance. My great bow is already unbearably hungry. Pang Shu stroked her own chest as she muttered, I also want to quickly return to Star World and drink Mugua lotus seed soup. The Xuannu of 9th Heaven treats 9 as an end. These 9th star duels cannot be underestimated. A voice as gentle as a spring breeze sounded out. The Shi Xian who was waving a sword, the meditating Deng Wuda, Pang Shu and Bao Nyanger were startled. A noble, graceful, mysterious and ephemeral beauty appeared among them. Your Highness, you have awoken. Pang Shu was elated. Give Her Highness quiet. Shi Xian knelt, and the others followed suit in deference. Rise, all of you. The girl slightly smiled. She was Fang Mojia. Your Highness, your meaning just now was? Shi Xian was pensive. This Highness wants to see him, discuss the latest chapter here. 1. Turns out, he is a horny brute after all. Right arrow curving left 2. Her. Song Jiang. Why would your Highness want to see her? Shi Xian inquired, not understanding why Feng Mojia would want to see Song Jiang. They were obviously here to stop her. Not her, but that man named Su Xing whom the brave star mentioned. Feng Mojia calmly said. Su Xing. The Xian, Liang, Shu, the generals were even more bewildered upon hearing this. Although the brave star was fierce, she was merely fodder. Why would your Highness mention that star master? Shi Xian's tone was somewhat sharp, not at all approving of Feng Mojia's thoughts. This palace believes that this generation's star duels are not so simple. Feng Mojia's gaze focused into the distance. Your Highness, please forgive subordinates' impulsiveness. Now is not the time to create side issues. Shi Xian reminded. Feng Mojia was still unmoved. Her faint smile was like mist and haze, mysterious and fleeting. Even the Xian, Liang, Shu, the generals could not see through her Highness no matter the time, any place is home. The longer they knew each other, the more unfathomable she became instead. Your Highness, but if we leave the vicinity of Maiden Mountain, what do we do if leader Star Song Jiang seizes the vacancy to enter? Bao Nyanga retracted her alluring expression and became solemn. You will all stand guard here. This Highness wants to rest. Feng Mojia's tone was gentle. She turned around and moved towards her bed. The four generals glanced at each other, somewhat unprepared regarding Feng Mojia's sudden interest. Your Highness, why the sudden interest in a star master? This is truly strange. Pang Shu turned her head back, ready to ask her elder sister, Sister Xian. The words had just left her mouth when she promptly swallowed them back. Shi Xian's hand was tightly gripping the phoenix splitter. She was seemingly smiling, squinting, the depths of her narrowed eyes filled with a strict glare. Can it be that Sister Xian is jealous? Pang Shu was speechless, deciding to be a bit more behaved so as to avoid touching on Sister Xian's sore spot. Otherwise, she would be severely punished again. Several days later, Zhao Hanyan finally entered the Longevity Palace, which made Su Xing breathe a sigh of relief. My darling Hanyan, if you didn't come back, I would have gone out to look for you. Does the prince consort believe this princess would betray him? Zhao Hanyan teased. The Ling Yan princess and Su Xing had the intertwined branch sword's 1,000-year pact. Su Xing also knew she was kidding. Why are there only 2 little sisters for the 7 Stars Assembly? Zhao Hanyan glanced around the Longevity Palace and found only Shi Yu and Gong Kaiwei. Su Xing stared at her. Your phrasing makes it sound like I'm specialized in roping other people in. This princess actually does not mind. 2 little sisters is truly a stroke of luck. Zhao Hanyan smiled and said. This little sister address undoubtedly determined a certain relationship between them. Shi Yu blushed and nodded, returning her salutations. Gong Kaiwei normally was somewhat at odds with the Ling Yan princess. The immortal hero princess pondered. She then grunted and merely nodded before turning to mind her other matters. Have you refined your heavenly books? Su Xing asked. In fact, over these past few days, Zhao Hanyan had been in Bian City, making use of the transforming star bewildering heaven array that national scholar Mo Shangxian created for mechanisms, pairing it with Dong Junqing refining her former volume heavenly book. As everyone knew, other than voluntarily giving the former volume heavenly book to a cultivator, another way was to use a special array. So long as a cultivator entered the array, then they could exploit the surplus star energy from a star master refining her heavenly book to also comprehend the mysteries of transforming star of annihilation. The Zhao Hanyan that expected to scale the peak of Maiden Mountain naturally did not need this surplus star energy. Then she had prepared it for a certain someone instead. Has Lord Father-in-law come? Su Xing smiled. Ha, ha, well done, son-in-law, truly impressive. In such a short time of not seeing you, you have already reached the peak of supervoid. We acknowledge our inferiority. A hearty laugh resounded. Emperor Liang walked into the Longevity Palace. Your servant greets Lord Father-in-law. Su Xing cupped his fist. Ha, ha, no need for the formalities. Just take care of Han Yen properly in the future. Emperor Liang smiled, waving his hand. Su Xing's current power apparently left Emperor Liang in the dust. However, he never imagined that Su Xing would still be so deferential to him. This gave Emperor Liang quite the pleasant surprise. Worthy of the Longevity Palace. As expected, this is a worldly fairyland. Emperor Liang looked around this legendary Longevity Palace. Even the most powerful ruler in Liangshan continent could not help but exclaim at the Longevity Palace's magnificence, especially the myriad charms of the Star Maidens in the Longevity Palace. Emperor Liang had often heard of the Purple Thunder monster's legends, but to personally see Lin Yingmei, Wuxia, and the other top-notch star generals all together still gave Emperor Liang an overwhelming feeling. Emperor Liang could not help but feel admiration, inwardly saying that this man truly had enormous fortune. Zhao Hanyan giggled at her father emperor's shocked expression, raising the corners of her mouth. Father emperor came this time to see the longevity steel's secrets. Prince consort, how about you let him see the secret? No problem at all, but the Longevity Palace is currently moving towards Maiden Mountain, time is short. Su Xing said. It would be difficult to learn the Longevity Steel's longevity cultivation method without several years' time. Even right now, it was perhaps too late to scratch the surface. Emperor Liang smiled, we want to personally see the Longevity Steel. Perhaps we can comprehend something. Father-in-law, please help yourself. Su Xing indicated. Emperor Liang wasted no time, warping in front of the Longevity Steel, gazing at it. Junqing, you ought to have finished refining your former volume Heavenly Book. What were its contents? Wu Xinjie asked at this time. It was only the most average of things. Zhao Hanyan said. Dong Juanqing's current aura was not the same as before, and there was an additional tyranny in her allure, something bewitching about her might. Clearly, her realm had increased considerably. Dong Junqing proudly curled her lips into a smile. She manifested the 4-star dragon Phoenix Yin-Yang spear, and a pair of true phoenix wings emerged from her back. True Phoenix 3rd stage. Not a bad realm. Wu Xinjie seeing clearly discerned this, and she voiced admiration. The former volume Heavenly Book had the function of comprehension of a heaven rank, ascension of a star weapon, or elevation of a realm. As far as a powerful martial general was concerned, increasing realm was actually not a bad choice. Yingmei, quickly come fight 300 bouts with this general. Dong Junqing shouted, Lin Yingmei slightly smiled. Her body techniques were agile, descending into the center of the field, her Arctic Star Serpent spear pointed directly at the general of double spears, hinting at her to fight with everything she had. Dong Junqing brandished the Dragon Phoenix Yin-Yang spears and attacked. The battle of the two great true Phoenix martial generals drew the attention of the other girls. Su Xing, not going to watch the battle together? Zhao Hanyan asked. I'm very confident in Yingmei. Su Xing smiled and said. Although Dong Juanqing's true Phoenix 3rd stage was very awesome, but this was unlikely to overcome Lin Yingmei. How was your Heavenly Book refinement? Zhao Hanyan curiously asked. Were the Heavenly Books all given to Lin Yingmei to refine? No, Yingmei was unwilling to take so many. She only refined 3. She just finished refining 2, one increased her realm, and the other upgraded her star weapon. Su Xing's gaze was full of tender love. Currently, Sister Yingmei is but true Phoenix 6th stage with a 6-star destined weapon. Yuan proudly flaunted. What, 6-star? Zhao Hanyan was unable to conceal her astonishment. She turned her gaze. Through that ice-cold light of the Arctic star's serpent spear, there were 6 coldly shimmering stars. Each of those stars were linked to each other, sparkling with lovely light, like a profound formation. Zhao Hanyan drew in a sharp breath. 6-star destined weapon. True Phoenix 6th stage. Did this not surpass the previous panther head? Shi Yuan wanted this Ling Yan princess to know that Hunyangzi's star weapon had already reached 7-star to see what sort of expression she would make. The previous Hu Banzwang relied on a 7-star destined weapon to sweep through everyone and become overlord. Now that Hunyangzi had already reached this realm, she was only one of many of Su Xing's wives. The others in the Longevity Palace that had also reached True Phoenix realm aside from Lin Yingmei and Hunyangzi included Wuxia, Hua Wanyue, Lu Shaking, Yan Yizhen, and Gong Sun Huang. Wuxia was True Phoenix 4th stage, Hua Wanyue was True Phoenix 2nd stage as was Lu Shaking, Gong Sun Huang was True Phoenix 3rd stage, and although Yan Yizhen was only True Phoenix 1st stage, she was the first wife out of everyone to comprehend a heaven rank. In the Longevity Palace's power rankings, other than Lin Yingmei, even Wuxia had to declare defeat. Seeing such a powerful battle formation, even the Zhao Hanyan that loved Su Xing dearly felt that Maiden Mountain's trials against him were truly justified. In the past star duels, a true Phoenix Martial General alone had the qualifications to become Overlord, let alone that Su Xing currently had 7 true Phoenix Realm Martial Generals. However, Zhao Hanyan was very aware that Su Xing's martial generals were each of spectacular realm, surpassing the past generations. But while the other star masters would be in life or death struggles, Su Xing's group had already begun to face Maiden Mountain's overlord trials, already begun opposing true Phoenix martial generals. Under this kind of trial by fire, it was not surprising for the true Phoenix realms to burst forth. Zhao Hanyan even somewhat understood why Maiden Mountain would want to get rid of Su Xing before the heavenly books. By the time the heavenly books passed, their true Phoenix realms would have fully developed. Even the past overlords would not be enough to qualify as opponents for them. This princess originally worried about the monster-slaying conference. Now, it seems that this princess must actually worry for them. Zhao Hanyan laughed. Monster-slaying conference, as expected, how regretful. This was within Su Xing's expectations. With his strength, it would be odd for the other star masters to not form an alliance. What are you regretting? To end Maiden Mountain star duels, it would be best if everyone joined hands. I had regrets about this. Did you think everyone was like you? Maybe you can go and seduce a few of them over. That Song Qingxi, what are your thoughts, Su Xing? Zhao Hanyan then asked, also voicing the confusion of the other girls. They were very aware of Song Qingxi's identity as leader star Song Jiang, and in these star duels, she had already formed the uprising. By doing so, it was naturally obvious at a glance what the purpose of the monster-slaying conference was. The uprising was allied with the monster-slaying conference. Even Su Xing could not easily break free from this. Zhao Hanyan had a solution, which was to first go sneak attack and kill Song Jiang, to get rid of the uprising's leader. With Song Jiang's death, she believed that Su Xing would have nothing to worry about in the future. You can't do this. Su Xing hesitantly declined. What, do you love her? Zhao Hanyan moved about, dazzling, or perhaps you want to turn this foster little sister into a conquered little sister. Why are you acting like Junqing? Su Xing felt defeat. What the princess says makes sense. Su Xing has treated her so well, yet she secretly wanted to betray Su Xing. This is too infuriating. Shi Yuan angrily said. To end the star duels, we cannot be missing Qingxi, otherwise, these star duels will be a dream of golden millet. Su Xing shook his head. All of the girls sunk into thought. Zhao Hanyan could not see through this man, but are you going to let that Song Jiang plot against you like this? Can it be that you are truly certain you will be able to face against the Uprising's army and the monster-slaying alliance together? Relax, I'll spread a rumor. What rumor? Will it work? I'll just say there's been a change in the 9th star duels. Star generals without a contract can automatically enter Maiden Mountain. Su Xing's voice was clear and bright. Zhao Huanyan and Shiyu were still confused as to the purpose. Perhaps other people will not understand, but Song Qingxi will definitely know that these words are referring to the uprising, so she will inevitably go investigate this. Wu Xinjie seemed to happen upon something. At that time, we can take this time to drive a wedge in the other alliance. Let alone that the 5th and 6th overlords did not give young lord a trial. Young lord surmises that Maiden Mountain has encountered some trouble, so he wants to make Qingxi's uprising forces go scout it out first. The implication being that the first to meet with danger would become cannon fodder. Zhao Huanyan thought and asked. Is such a simple rumor really believable? She won't believe it, but she will have no choice but to believe it. Because Qingxi is in fact the greatest variable in the 9th star duels. Su Xing sighed. This man's heart was very aware. It appeared he truly did not need to worry. This was the difference between a little sister and an adoptive little sister. The Ling Yan princess was instantly moist. She impulsively pushed Su Xing down on the spot, shocking each of the nearby girls into gasping. This princess wants 300 bouts with you right now. Sisters, you are free to join in. Zhao Huanyan bit her lip and undressed, leaning over to expose the deep cleavage under her bodice, her breathing heavy. Liked it? Have you thought clearly about the wish after you become overlord? In a corridor of the Longevity Palace, Emperor Liang held his hands behind his back, gazing at the giant, faraway mountain. The adjacent Su Xing hesitantly answered. I don't need the overlord's wish. I don't have any faith in this thing. Oh. Emperor Liang's brow wrinkled, showing curiosity. I will climb the mountain, and I will see what kind of landscape is there. As for these star duels, I will definitely end them. Su Xing gave a downplayed smile. For it to be able to drop so many formidable star generals, have you truly no fear? Emperor Liang continued, that Maiden Mountain's power is most certainly far stronger than Liangshan continent's. I think that may not be the case. Su Xing's expression was very relaxed. So long as I can grasp transforming star of annihilation, I think I can at least have a place to stand in Star World. Transforming star of annihilation, huh? Whenever Emperor Liang heard of the final goal of Liangshan's cultivators, he could not help but sigh. In close to 10,000 years, it was a fact that no cultivator could truly comprehend this legendary transforming star of annihilation. Even Supervoid Peak cultivators were unable to obtain any glimpse into comprehension. We once had a candlelight chat with Holy Monk for noble truths about this transforming star of annihilation matter, and we actually have some grasp of it. Emperor Liang slowly spoke. He held one hand behind him while the other extended forwards. Like the sun peeking through the clouds, it swept away the mist, revealing Maiden Mountain even more clearly. This transforming star of annihilation will require annihilation before you can be a transforming star. Your Majesty's meaning is? Reportedly, Supervoid Peak cultivators must first cripple their own cultivation, degrade themselves into ordinary people. Only by this kind of circumstance of great fortune and misfortune can transforming star be grasped. Emperor Liang said. Su Xing recalled Devil Ancestor Dark Nether and nodded. I think so as well. But to make a Supervoid Peak cultivator become a cripple, they would perhaps be killed off before becoming transforming star. No wonder Liangshan continent's history never had records of transforming star of annihilation, because when a cultivator truly arrived at a level of comprehension, those who did not already enter Star World would already have been destroyed. However, using magic weapons like the 10,000 Calamities chain or soul-concealing muslin as Devil Ancestor Dark Netherhead actually was not a bad solution. The 7 Stars Assembly is already here. We would like that even if you are willing for transforming Star of Annihilation, that you do not face this danger. Emperor Liang smiled and said. Su Xing knew that what he said was correct. If he crippled himself right now, the Lin Yingmei and the others would face poor odds. Actually, it may not be necessary to be annihilated before transforming Star. Sometimes, finding some people from Star World to help stuff your head may be even easier, right? Su Xing mysteriously smiled. Find someone from Star World? Emperor Liang's eyes flashed, and he laughed aloud. Surprisingly, you would dare have designs on her. If she truly came from Star World, then perhaps you actually can reach this realm. My daughter truly has taken fancy to a reckless man, ha, 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 ha. Su Xing laughed along. Now that the ascent was at hand, there was no way he could not take risks right now. I am enormously relieved to leave Hanyan to you. Emperor Liang turned his head back to look around the Longevity Palace. He sighed, you have so many beautiful star generals. Perhaps you can answer us a question. Your Majesty, you wish to ask my origins? Su Xing guessed. Emperor Liang nodded. In fact, he had investigated Su Xing's history. Other than the 4 Styles School, everything else was unknown, as if Su Xing seemingly appeared out of thin air. But to have this kind of boldness and courage, to always be dazzling like a firefly in the night, he could not possibly be someone mediocre and without background. This will be the last time we see one another. We will never be able to eat or rest in peace if we cannot solve this mystery. Your Majesty, just treat me as if I came from Star World. Su Xing did not know how to speak about his history. You could only possibly have come from there. Emperor Liang said. Take good care of Hanyan. We will definitely go to Star World to look for you. Emperor Liang continued confidently. As you wish. Emperor Liang sighed, we suddenly feel that Liangshan continent will actually be somewhat lonely without you. Muttering this, Emperor Liang soared into the air, instantly vanishing from the Longevity Palace. Su Xing calmly looked at Liangshan continent's landscape. A while after, he turned and walked through the corridors. Each of the training girls turned gazes full of love and affection towards this beloved man. Lord Husband, do you truly wish to go grasp transforming Star of Annihilation? Wuxia was not without worry. Only by becoming stronger can a wish be achieved. Su Xing's tone was resolute. Wuxia nodded, helplessly smiling. Let's go find her now. Surrounded by mountains on all sides, embracing a pool of spring water, this was a crisp and concentrated scene, practically a tranquil water painting. A yellow-robed girl sat on a rock at the water's edge. Her feet were bare, and her golden armor was already set to the side. The girl rinsed her hair with the clean water, turning her incisive eyes towards a giant mountain beyond. The clear water flowed, soaking the woman's clothes, clinging to that physique tenderly. The woman was freshening herself when there was a sudden breeze. Several plum blossom petals drifted down in the forest. With a wave of her hand, the plum blossom petals swirled into her hand. She leaps off the swing, lazily raising her slender hands. Dew condenses on the thin flowers, a light sweat seeping into her clothes. She sees someone approach, the girl softly sang. No one would ever have thought that this calm, picturesque, and gentle as water woman was that famous Thousand Buddha star Chao Gai. Just as she mentioned, someone approach, Chao Gai's expression suddenly chilled. She coldly called out, you sneak, quickly come out. What a fine rouge lips. I never thought you'd have such a side to you, Wu Hui. A voice suddenly rang out and broke the quiet. Chao Wu Hui was taken aback. A man had appeared in front of her at some point in time. He wore a vile and narrow smile, a fake smile as he looked her up and down. This damn Su Xing. Chao Wu Hui extended her hand. A golden lotus flower blossomed that then shot a ray of golden light to gouge out Su Xing's dog eyes. Su Xing pushed, easily breaking it with purple cloud east approaches. By the time the lotus flower dissipated, Chao Wuhui had already donned her armor, a grim expression on her face. The girly sentiments from before seemed to be an illusion. What a pity, what a pity. Su Xing clicked his tongue. Your appearance before was certainly much more beautiful. Humph, this one did not come to seek you out, but you have surprisingly come to seek this one out. Chao Wuhui loftily said. I have come to confer unto you a calamity. Su Xing said. Chao Wuhui was taken aback and immediately replied, You have already pried into this one's strength, and this one does not have any calamity to confer you. Su Xing mockingly said, Don't be like that, Chao Wuhui, I saw that you were too focused, so I didn't bother you. You mentioned rouge lips just now, how do you know of it? Chao Wuhui wrinkled her brow. Why wouldn't I know? Isn't it one of Li Qingzhao's? Su Xing curiously said. How do you know of the heavenly green star? Chao Wuhui said in astonishment. Heavenly green star, Su Xing did not feel like guessing. At any rate, she must be another star name inherited in Star World. That Li Qingzhao had a star name as well was quite unexpected. Wait until I ascend to Star World, then you'll realize that I know a lot. Chao Wuhui showed a vigilant expression. Enough of this for now. I sought you out this time not to peek, Su Xing was serious. What is your business? The Seven Stars Assembly has already begun. You ought to know the current situation of the star duels. Chao Wuhui said, With your strength, it was inevitable that the others would unite to face you. They aren't my target. Su Xing shook his head. These words sounded to Chao Wuhui as if he was saying they were not his opponents. The star masters that were able to last until now have exceptional strength. Do you really believe you can ignore them? Chao Wuhui sternly said. So that's why I came to find you. My dear Wuhui, don't misunderstand. Su Xing chuckled. This one is already unable to help you. Chao Wuhui was forthright. In fact, I came to you to look for another person. Su Xing said. What person? Brave Star Guaning. Chao Wuhui was silent for a moment. A seeming smile flit across her lips. As it turns out, you want to grasp transforming star of annihilation. Just in passing at the same time. Su Xing calmly answered. Chao Wuhui flipped her wrist. A 7-story pagoda appeared in her palm, with rippling golden light in glinting colored glass. This pagoda was Chao Wuhui's strongest star weapon. Across all of Liangshan continent, it could absorb anything in this world and proceed to refine it. Su Xing had personally witnessed her wield the heaven-earth dark yellow 1,000 pagodas might twice. How could Chao Wuhui not realize the intentions this man harbored? He surprisingly wanted her to absorb him into the pagoda for a breakthrough in his cultivation. If he could actually break out of the pagoda, then transforming star of annihilation would not be a problem. Are you actually so sure you can break out of the pagoda? Chao Wuhui oddly asked. This one's 1,000 Buddha pagoda has but absorbed several great demi-kings and the Liao Emperor's fierce generals. You must have seen them already before. What you say is correct. Su Xing nodded, but entering the 1,000 Buddha pagoda was clearly his fastest option. Then this one shall confer unto you this calamity. Whether or not you can break out of the 7-story pagoda will depend on your luck. Chao Wuhui nodded in acknowledgement. Let me think for a moment. Su Xing shouted. Chao Wuhui laughed. No chance now. Saying this, she tossed the heaven-earth dark yellow 1,000 Buddha pagoda. Its Buddhist light radiated, sucking Su Xing in. An enormous suction pulled him in towards the pagoda. Even with Su Xing's current supervoid peak cultivation, he surprisingly felt unable to resist. Once again, he felt just how formidable Chao Gai's realm was. But at the same time this 1,000 Buddhist light fired, Su Xing immediately sensed the meditative mind lotus flower in his mind stir restlessly, as if it wanted to bloom, to resist the suction of this Buddhist light. Su Xing hesitated for a moment, gritting his teeth. If he wanted to break free of Maiden Mountain's restrictions after climbing the peak, then there was only one way, and that was to make himself transforming star of annihilation like that immortal clear void. Only by doing so did he have a chance. Otherwise, his words were nothing more than pompous bullshit. As well, entering the pagoda for a breakthrough was indeed a dangerous game. Su Xing had discerned that Chao Wuhui was helping him. If this truly did not work, then he had various backup plans, but regardless, Su Xing did not hope he and Chao Wuhui would end up this way. If only it were so. Thinking to this point, Su Xing no longer hesitated. He forced down the meditative mind lotus flower. Brief praise shot through Chao Wuhui's eyes. She then chanted, and the Buddhist light erupted, sucking Su Xing into the pagoda. You have a dozen contracts with star generals. This one actually is unable to trap you for too long away from the star duels. You must look after yourself. The winds calmed, and the trees became still. The lake regained its tranquility. Chao Wuhui hooked her finger, sprinkling the green plum blossoms back into her hand. She wafted their scent, and her expression of unfettered delight read the second stanza of Rouge Lips. She runs in socks, her golden hairpin slipping. She walks away in embarrassment, but turns around at the threshold. Yet she sniffs the plum blossoms. Liked it? Only after Su Xing entered the heaven-earth dark yellow thousand Buddha pagoda did he realize Chao Gai's might. The interior of the pagoda was not vile nor was it full of scorching holy fire like he had imagined. On the contrary, it was extraordinarily beautiful. As far as the eye could see, it was a vast world of colored glass, full of Buddhist lotus flowers everywhere, an endless expanse. It gave him a kind of extremely peaceful feeling. Su Xing was honestly puzzled. He used his divine intent to scan, only to discover this empty space had an incorporeal spiritual pressure, surprisingly making him unable to manifest his powers in the slightest. Furthermore, his magic energy was completely gone without a trace. Any other cultivator perhaps could not escape easily. However, Su Xing was accustomed to this. He once crossed the Buddha kingdom's 7-story stupa pagoda's 8 distresses of life, and he also blossomed Buddhism's greatest power, the meditative mind lotus flower. He did not dare say he had an understanding of Buddhism's mysteries, but few Buddhist powers could hinder him. This was also one of the reasons Su Xing dared to enter Chao Gao's heaven-earth dark yellow thousand Buddha pagoda. Ksitigarbha's wish, the 4 elements are vanity. Su Xing chanted, forming hand seals. The meditative mind lotus flower unfurled behind him, showing a Buddhist image. 2 rays of colored glass light flowed in Su Xing's eyes, suddenly making those eyes shine like amber. This endless realm of tranquility immediately retreated to reveal its true form to Su Xing. An enormous pagoda towered over him. Let alone that this colored glass world was endless, in truth, if you actually tried to search for an end to this realm, then that would be waste of a lifetime of energy for naught but a futile struggle. Su Xing lifted his head. Sure enough, high above, there was already a spiral spreading outwards. At its center was a radiant light. Su Xing stamped his foot, leaping upwards. Lotus flowers bloomed, trailing behind him like a flight of stairs. Just at this moment, an anomaly occurred. A scorching flame suddenly leapt right at him head-on, burning Su Xing's organs and bones with rolling fire. Su Xing's limbs and orifices trickled golden flames. This was the true face of Chao Gai's heaven-earth dark yellow thousand Buddha pagoda. Transforming star of annihilation was achieved when a cultivator compresses their magic energy into their dantian in a return to their true self, to the brink of destruction and rebirth, before finally becoming a transforming star. During this time, the cultivator could not utilize anything up to the moment of annihilation. Against the incoming holy fire, Su Xing could only resist it. These Buddhist holy fires merely came from the fundamental 7 emotions and 6 desires. Fortunately, Su Xing had cultivated the heart-like mirror and chaotic tail escape already to their pinnacle states. This pain was not worth a mention. Just like this, he did not know for how long he flew upwards, but the Buddhist images along the way became more and more numerous, and slow chanting also grew louder. Behind Su Xing, the meditative mind lotus flower was beginning to quickly wither away. The higher he went, the more penetrating the unimaginable burning became. Su Xing's consciousness gradually became hazy. All kinds of memories vanished one by one from his mind. This is bad. Su Xing shook his head, but there was no way for him to circulate his cultivation. He could only force himself through with spirit. The dozen star crests on his forehead flickered. With a rumble, the sky caved in. Countless lotus and polo flowers rained down, as if overflowing the heavens, once again about to push Su Xing down into the depths of the abyss. His vision instantly collapsed. 7 days afterwards, the heaven-earth dark yellow thousand Buddha pagoda slowly spun, twinkling. Thousand Buddha star Chao Wuhui was currently sitting close-eyed in meditation. A while afterwards, a slight smile brushed across her lips. It appears you lot are not at all confident in your own star master. She had only just finished speaking when several figures flew out from the forest. The light subsided, revealing several girls of unparalleled beauty. Chao Wuhui, I trust you have been well since we last met. A girl dressed in a blue short skirt and white silk smartly strode forward. She carried in her hand a feather fan, appearing as if she was free and unfettered. At her side was a white fox, its eyes glinting, fantastical and elegant. Behind the girl was a rumble of wind and thunder. Chains like serpents were vaguely visible. Knowledge star resourceful star Wu Yong. This one never imagined that even you would reach true phoenix realm, resourceful star. That man has so many star generals. Not only is your power not diminished, on the contrary, it has surpassed the past knowledge stars. Chao Wuhui smiled and said. Wu Xinji smiled back without saying a word. You have come seeking something of this one. Chao Gai looked around. Surrounding her on all sides were girls that need not be described. They were naturally Lin Yingmei, Wuxia, Yan Yizhen, Gong Sun Huang, Hun Yangzi, Hua Wanyue and the rest. Their true phoenix realm auras were manifested. A kind of might made even Chao Gai raise her brows. The 7 stars assembly has already begun. You do not kill those star masters right now, yet instead, you come seek this one out. Is there some sort of plan? Chao Wuhui asked, stopping the heaven-earth dark yellow thousand Buddha pagoda. Young Su came to find you, Wuhui. We came for a capture. Zhang Yuqi giggled. This one actually wants to see him. Chao Wuhui faintly smiled. Xinjie, we had better be forthright with her. Lin Yingmei brought out the 7-star Arctic Star Serpent Spear. The panther head had always handled herself directly and efficiently. Young master only wants to end the star duels, but in order to end the star duels, if we do not defeat you, then that would be meaningless. The Arctic Star Serpent Spear pointed directly at Chao Gai. Lord Husband has always clearly differentiated gratitude and grudges. He has received much favor from you, but if we cannot defeat you, then our wish will be meaningless. Wu Xio then said. Furthermore, I also want to know after we defeat you, whether or not we can learn the reason these star duels began in the first place. Why else would we do this? Hero star Hua Wanyue drew her bow, displaying a graceful curve. Wife shall offend you on dear husband's behalf. Hun Yangzi's bright eyes were full of love, the golden wind and jade dew in her hands adopting a combat posture. Sadhu, Sadhu. Lu Shaking murmured. Yan Yizhen, Gong Sun Huang and the others grunted. End the star duels, can it be that you truly have the confidence for this? Chao Wuhui was not angry, rather, she was very curious. Su Xing said that for us to make rapid and brilliant progress, to unite under the radiance of recklessness, Shi Yuan also leapt out and spoke. The radiance of recklessness? Chao Wuhui was speechless. Just what ideas was this Su Xing imparting? It was the radiance of togetherness, wasn't it? And Suan timidly asked. Oh, right. Reckless, huh? Recklessness, otherwise, we would not dare face Maiden Mountain. Shi Yuan patted her chest. As a very profession robber, what she loved most was recklessness. Although she felt that Su Xing probably did not mean this, and Suan remained silent. In short, we need to be strong to end this kind of internecine strife. Shi Yuan's memory was not very clear. Anyways, this was what Su Xing meant. This one has gained a new level of respect for you all. This one did not give him the meditative mind lotus flower in vain. Knowing their final objective, Chao Wuhui was instead very happy. But you wish to face this one with only your forces alone? Are you not afraid to die? Chao Wuhui released her power. The entire valley spring seemed to freeze. Powerful phoenix wings sprouted from her back, stifling the airflow in a range of 100 li. Her awe-inspiring might burst forth, making the girls face a great enemy. True Phoenix 8th stage. So this is your realm, Chao Gai. Wu Xinjie's seeing clearly discerned this. Chao Wuhui's realm made her drawn in a sharp breath. This one shall give you another opportunity to leave without this one pursuing. Chao Wuhui was stern. Although Chao Wuhui's realm was extremely strong, Wu Xinjie did not shrink back at all. In truth, she had thought over this confrontation against Chao Wuhui for a long time. What she mentioned just now about defeating Maiden Mountain's guardian first before facing Maiden Mountain was merely one of many other goals. The other reason was that Su Xing had gone to seek out Chao Gai to grasp transforming star of annihilation and was trapped in the heaven-earth dark yellow thousand Buddha pagoda. For the sake of giving their master the greatest opportunity to break out of the pagoda, they must use all of their power in battle to weaken Chao Wuhui as much as possible, even if only a little bit to give Su Xing that much more of a chance to survive. For our sake, young master, dare to seek you out to comprehend transforming star, Chao Gai. How can your servant just stand by and watch? Lin Yingmei shouted, ice-cold, unleashing her true phoenix realm. Then do you wish to interfere as well? Chao Wuhui directed her question to Zhao Hanyan, Gong Kaiwei, and Shi Yu. To be able to teach the famous Chao Gai a lesson, this general truly can die satisfied following this man. Dong Junqing shamelessly licked her lips. Although her language was vulgar, she nevertheless represented the position of the other girls present. The Seven Stars Assembly has finally become a confrontation against Maiden Mountain's guardian. Such a marvelous show, how can this princess miss it? Zhao Hanyan smiled. Your power is indeed very formidable, but it is still not enough to scale the peak. Chao Wuhui disdainfully said. It truly is as Xing'er said. Maiden Mountain has met with trouble. You have met with trouble as well, Chao Gai. Chai Ling stroked Xing'er, ruminating. He is a careful man. In that case, allow this one to properly lecture you on his behalf. Chao Wuhui nodded. At this time, the foreheads of all of Su Xing's wives flared with star crests, an acute and unbearable pain. They immediately sensed that Su Xing had encountered danger inside the pagoda. At once, they no longer hesitated. The most powerful fighting intent was unleashed towards Chao Gai. Outside this valley, atop a peak, white clouds rolled, an unending sea. Two girls were currently gazing through the endless abyss towards this place. One girl was petite and delicate, with pink clothes and an adorable face. Her beautiful eyes glittered, appearing very cute. The woman standing at her side was the stark opposite, beautiful but aloof. She was dressed in a pure white long robe and a black girdle. Her slender fingers grasped the hilt of her saber, curved like a crescent, a steady sword light. Your Majesty, shall we intervene? Yusuji Muzu asked. Against Chao Gai? Koito ate a sakura bun, her face elated. Your Highness, have you forgotten? Yusuji Muzu shook her head. Koito's happiness was immediately dampened. She remembered that this trip to Liangshan continent was to help Song Jiang scale the peak. Yusuji Muzu's innate skill, commander, could grant an all-around increase to the realms of star generals under her. Originally, they thought that Harm star Wu Song would follow Song Jiang's uprising, but things are completely different from what we expected. The Seven Stars Assembly has begun, and there surprisingly has been no news at all concerning Song Jiang. Instead, Su Xingyanii has almost replaced Song Jiang. Koito swallowed and then handed a meat bun to Yusuji Muzu. The indifferent girl did not decline. Her slender and beautiful hands took the meat bun, and she took a small bite. Su Xingyanii is quite a good person. We do not need to concern ourselves with him. Koito nodded. All is as you wish, Your Highness. Yusuji Muzu was apathetic. Do not call Koito Your Highness. Being the Empress was only for fun. If only you can actually face Maiden Mountain. You must know that Maiden Mountain has star names that are more formidable than even the heavenly stars. Koito murmured. She then lifted her gaze, looking at the pillar extending into heaven. The cute and innocent loli showed a bit of exasperated worry. Liked it? Lotus flowers filling the sky then descended like a wave overflowing the heavens, drowning Su Xing. The holy fire inside his body burned his organs, making Su Xing endure enormous suffering. Transforming Star of Annihilation was easy to talk about. Past cultivators that wanted to comprehend the borderlines of life and death often were unable to pass the checkpoint of death. To degrade unparalleled cultivation to the most ordinary of bodies was not something the average person could bear. Su Xing only felt his consciousness become increasingly hazy. If it was not for the support of his star crests, the seven-story pagoda would have already refined him into his quintessence. Even so, Su Xing still felt powerless. Several times, he wanted to expel the qi in his dantian, to unleash his powerful magic energy. But when a cultivator stepped into the world of transforming Star of Annihilation, there was already no room to turn back at this time. This was not death. This was rebirth. Every kind of dazzling illusion threw themselves at him. Su Xing gradually gave way. In the middle of these myriad illusions, he suddenly heard a voice, a mysterious call that was unprecedented in its pleasantness. Su Xing. Su Xing's soul regained its splendor. The lotus flowers scattered. A hand reached out and grabbed him. Su Xing seized his counterpart's wrist. From the touch of her skin, he could discern this was a girl. Guaning. Just before Su Xing's consciousness slipped into endless tranquility, he suddenly felt matchless safety. Su Xing seemed to have had a dream of golden millet. He dreamed of everything that happened after that moment when he first fell into Liangshan. The heroic majestic star panther head Lin Chong pointing her spear straight at his throat, making her pledge. The Song Lu of myriad schemes who turned out to be the clever knowledge star resourceful star Wu Xinjie, who fell in love and offered advice, then, the thief star Flea on a drum Shi Yuan and their walk through the 10,000 Li corridor, their kiss that shocked the world, the efficacious star divine physician and Suwen's health cottage and her spiritual aura distribution, and then more. Skillful star wanderer Yanizhan's 3 checkpoints and 6 generals, her heavenly star master recruitment. Leisure star dragon in the clouds Gongsun Huang afflicted by the snake and scorpion Beatty, her mutterings of Your Highness. Solitary star gold coin spotted leopard Tang Lianxin crossdressing, receiving the favor of the 4 styles. Rat star daylight rat song in evil smiting hall, the sweetness of candy. His 9th star general, solitary star Lu Chanxin's dharma in the rain, monastic name shacking. Then, the Black Turtle Territory's bright star 10 feet of blue Hunyangzi, whose eyes and golden wind were laden with grief, who exchanged a pledge of love with the jade dew in her hand. Damage star white stripe in the waves Zhang Yuqi, the beauty who tread the waves. Wu Xiao's, do not laugh laying drunk on battlefield, who undermined a millennium. Hua Wanyue's, too young to have learned about sorrow, who resolved to call him milord. And finally, the 14th star General Gu Tong, whose voice shook Liangshan. Watching the plot development, everything passed. This last memory seemed to be viewed from far away, as if it was a bubble about to burst. Su Xing's heart was extremely worried, yet he found that his magic energy had completely vanished. He grasped onto those departing memories, suddenly opening his eyes in the midst of his struggle. What entered his eyes was the complexion of a graceful woman. She had a pair of dark blue eyes, deeper than the ocean and full of mystery. Not even all the worlds in the world could describe the feeling this girl gave Su Xing. She was very beautiful. So beautiful she did not seem real. You have awakened. Those mysterious and beautiful pupils reflected Su Xing's face drenched in cold sweat. Who are you? Su Xing smelled a darkened scent, something very mysterious. But he was certain he did not know this girl. The woman calmly stared at him. Only then did Su Xing notice he had been sleeping on her lap, his hand tightly grasping hers. Su Xing. You need to rest. The girl said, her voice gentle. It seemed very much like the voice of that girl who called out to him just before Su Xing finally lost consciousness. Su Xing's head hurt terribly. He did not know what that dream just now meant, retelling everything that had transpired since he arrived in Liangshan continent. It seemed as if it was consciously transmitted, making Su Xing nearly believe he actually had a great dream. Right now, his body was completely without strength. The mysterious woman gracefully remained silent. Since she did not oppose him sleeping on her lap, Su Xing accepted her invitation. The girl's thighs were extremely comfortable, also with a mysterious scent. It could make a person feel extremely calm. While he rested, Su Xing first checked his magic energy. There was no recovery at all. It seemed that dream really was not the effect of attaining transforming star of annihilation. He looked at his surroundings. It was a strange place of nature, with pagodas in great numbers, and there was an enormous statue of Buddha. The girl's finger quietly left Su Xing's forehead. A red light passed by that slender white finger. You are a person not of this world. The girl said. What world? This place is myriad worlds. I am not. Su Xing answered, feeling this woman probably had been sealed by Chao Gai. Chao Wuhui truly was abnormal. Such a beautiful, graceful and cute beauty had been shut inside the pagoda. He would have to ask her properly when he returned. How could Su Xing have known, if Chao Gai learned that this woman had surprisingly inserted herself into the heaven-earth dark yellow thousand pagoda, she probably would have gloomily vomited blood. The girl did not say anything. If Su Xing carefully looked at her, he would notice that reflected in his counterpart's blue eyes was not this scene, but earth instead. A long while after, Su Xing finally felt his body recover a bit of energy. Although sleeping on the girl's soft thighs was very pleasant, Su Xing did not forget his objective at all. He rose and thanked the girl. I'm called Su Xing. Could you tell me your name? The girl gracefully stood. Su Xing originally felt that hero star Wanyue was already the most elegant woman he had ever seen. Regardless of her figure or manners, they were all excellent, giving off an eminent and unapproachable feeling. But only when he saw this woman did he discover that there was someone who surprisingly competed against even Hua Wanyue. The girl's elegance possessed a kind of indescribable signature. No matter her temperament or build, she honestly could not best Hua Wanyue. But when she stood there, she seemed to be the center of this world, making him unable to overlook her. Every one of her movements showed meticulous care, but each of her actions were like nature itself, as if she was that most beautiful moment when the queen of the night bloomed. Could a girl like this actually have been tamed by Chao Gai? Su Xing curiously used seeing clearly, but as if she was a mystery itself, he was completely unable to see anything. Call me Mojia. The girl said. Mojia? Is that really your name? Su Xing felt this name was honestly too special. Seeing the girl did not object, Su Xing tacitly assented. No matter what, she should count as his savior. What is this place? The 7-story pagoda. As expected. Who are you? Why would you be trapped by Chao Gai in this pagoda? Su Xing asked. This highness is sleeping. What? Su Xing briefly did not understand. Do you wish to go find Guaning? Fang Mojia said. N. But this 7-story pagoda was too strange. Su Xing was completely lost right now. Do you know a lot? Su Xing was somewhat puzzled towards this mysterious girl. Could she be a trial in the 1000 Buddha pagoda? This highness has seen her before. Where is Guaning? Su Xing immediately asked. Fang Mojia closed her eyes and fell backwards. Su Xing promptly caught her. What's the matter with you? This highness is weary, her head nodded off. The girl surprisingly fell asleep just like this. Just like the most beautiful moment after the queen of the night bloomed, silence quickly resumed. Su Xing was even less able to see through her. Seeing the girl doze off like this without any vigilance, she did not fear him in the slightest. Su Xing was unable to ignore her. Thinking, he bucked his shoulders, placing Fang Mojia on his back. A very soft sensation pricked him. Only then did he notice that this girl's overwhelming mysterious temperament made him overlook the young woman's full breasts and gorgeous figure. Fang Mojia slept very deeply, her long eyelashes slightly trembling, not at all minding that she was sleeping on the back of a man. Su Xing felt this girl actually was innocuously adorable. He knowingly smiled and carried her on his back swiftly towards the endless pagodas. On his back. The girl's eyes slightly opened and then slowly closed once again. Liked it? Su Xing carried this girl on his back through this mysterious world for an unknown time. He had originally thought the days he spent in the pagoda would pass quite monotonously, but ever since this girl appeared, things actually became more and more interesting. Every day, Su Xing would carry Mojia over hills and through streams, walking towards that giant statue of Buddha. When he was weary, he would lay on the girl's thighs to rest, which counted as her recompense. Su Xing was very curious about Mojia's background, but no matter how he asked, the girl from start to finish was disinclined to speak. The occasional replies she gave were all small talk. Although they were simple, they nevertheless made Su Xing happily free and unfettered. If he could break through to transforming star of annihilation like this, that would not be bad at all. Simple times as Su Xing desired would not be kept for too long. On this day, Su Xing finally encountered several of the people he absolutely did not want to see in the heaven-earth dark yellow 1000 Buddha pagoda. Oh, why does this handsome young man look a bit familiar? Great King, your thoughts. A woman dressed in magnificent golden armor with golden hair, blue eyes and a domineering presence showed a mocking smile as she looked at Su Xing. Among them was a scholarly young lady. At first glance, she seemed like a beautiful youth. That refined and beautiful girl also directed a cold stare at Su Xing. These two women were none other than the Crystal Dragon Palace's great Liao's #1 fierce General Wuyan Guang and the Liao Emperor Yelu Wuxin. There was also the sorceress Hebauer, but she seemed to be absent. The three of them had been sealed into Chao Gai's heaven-earth dark yellow 1000 Buddha pagoda. Su Xing anticipated that Chao Wuhui would be unable to refine them and could only trap them. Coming here to this world was a matter of luck. You are Lin Chang's Star Master. Yelu Wuxin had a very deep impression of Su Xing. Of course, it could not be anything else but deep. This man shocked the world when he descended into the Crystal Dragon Palace. Afterwards, he caused a commotion in the White Tiger territory. If it was not for his interference, she and Chao Wuhui would have fought on even odds, and she would not have been sealed into this pagoda instead. This kind heard that Chao Gai treated you quite favorably. What, did she finally see through your true face and seal you unto the pagoda? I willingly entered the pagoda. Su Xing was calm. Willingly? Wu Guang roared with laughter. What in this accursed pagoda would make you so willing to enter it? This accursed pagoda has but sealed the great Liao's 3 fierce generals. Wu Guang's expression was unsightly. She glanced at her great king, but Yelu Wuxin showed no indication of action. If we were in Star World and this king had not thrown away her destined weapon, desolate destruction, how could this king ever place this trifling heaven-earth dark yellow thousand pagoda in her gaze? Yelu Wuxin sneered. Su Xing shrugged. I'd better offer you my sympathies. You. Wu Guang was furious. Who is that on your back? Yelu Wuxin spotted the slumbering girl on Su Xing's back, and her brows suddenly wrinkled. Like you, a star general sealed in this pagoda. Su Xing said. Yelu Wuxin showed an even more perplexed expression. Hand her over to this king, and this king can consider letting you go. Yelu Wuxin extended a white hand. Don't tell me you're still capable of martial arts in this pagoda. Su Xing suddenly felt a sense of foreboding. Yelu Wuxin's lips curled into a smile. See for yourself. Wu Guang obliged. Like a monster out of its cage, she twirled her origin-mixing spear and pounced. She aggressively howled. The Su Xing that had completely lost his cultivation relied on his innate powerful martial arts talents to see through Wu Guang's line of attack. Su Xing subconsciously wanted to use the Bagua escape. Only to then find he was unable to activate it. The origin-mixing spear instantly attacked his stomach. Cold light fired, and Su Xing inwardly screamed. Just at this moment, Su Xing felt his body instantly become agile. A mysterious energy suddenly burst forth, and by the time Su Xing knew it, he was astonished to discover that he had at some point surprisingly teleported in another direction. Wu Guang's terrifying killing intent had unexpectedly been evaded without any warning. Not only him, but Wu Guang herself also showed an expression of shock. Her attack just now had an abundance of power and completely sealed her opponent's paths of escape, but just as the spear was about to kill him, Su Xing nevertheless magically vanished. Surprisingly, even she was unable to perceive this. Watch this. Her spear clanged. She was honestly an unstoppable brave. This time, her spear attacked even swifter. Su Xing's eyes were dazzled, but he once again abruptly vanished from under the spear attacks. Ah! It was as if Wu Guang was being humiliated. Her footsteps moved, and she fiercely launched herself over, her spear suddenly unleashing her killing intent. Thousands of spear shadows and tens of thousands of lights practically disintegrated this world. This level of powerful attack capability was expected of the #1 fierce general of the Liao Kingdom. Even Su Xing recognized that he had no certainty resisting this at peak cultivation, but Su Xing was astonished to discover that a power from who knows where brought him to another location. The killing intent that filled the skies did not even touch a corner of his clothes. Impossible. Wu Guang was enraged. Su Xing had no interest in tangling with them further. Right now, his own escape from the pagoda took priority. By means of this lithe power, Su Xing bounded towards the giant Buddha. Wu Guang wanted to give chase when the Liao Emperor called her back. Do not pursue. Great King. Wu Guang was mad. She felt that she had been humiliated. An insignificant plebeian without martial prowess had surprisingly emerged unscathed from under several dozen of her attacks. She did not even touch his clothes. Wu Guang felt she had no face left. This is not your fault. Can it be you did not notice the girl on that man's back? Yelu Wuxin's brows was locked tight. Subordinate does not understand. That girl is helping him, otherwise, how could he have possibly escaped? Ah, who is that woman? Subordinate was helpless against her. Wu Guang was flabbergasted. This king perhaps knows who she is, but she should not be one to help this man in the first place. Yelu Wuxin contemplated for a while. Great king, just who is she? This was the first time that Wu Guang saw her great king show such a frightened expression. The legendary star general who has inherited Star World's great song of 90,000 years, Fong La. What? Mojia, thanks. Su Xing flew swiftly over the land. Wu Guang did not chase him. Su Xing surmised the reason for the phenomena just before ought to be related to the girl on his back. The wind gently blew the bangs hanging over the deeply sleeping girl. She was still in slumber. Over the next few days, Su Xing entered a flight of suffering. Wu Guang followed close behind like a beast. Although Mojia's power helped Su Xing avert several disasters, he was not so fortunate every time. Several times, Su Xing was nearly cut in half by Wu Guang in a moment without strength. In the end, Su Xing needed to rely on all his power to face this Wu Guang's relentless cuts. Just like this, Su Xing abruptly discovered the power originally sealed in his dantian was gradually emerging from a cocoon, with an abundance of power. Forcing himself into dire straits, losing his energy, then annihilating himself once again. Of course, that kind of strength to enter a domain of death absolutely needed to surpass Supervoid Peak in order to work. No wonder Liangshan continent's cultivators were never able to achieve this. Other than divine beasts, Liangshan continent was extremely lacking in those kinds of existences with power that exceeded Supervoid Peak. Even if they did exist, they could not possibly be as fortunate as Su Xing, to be able to dodge disaster every time. As it turns out, this was the profundity of transforming star of annihilation. Su Xing finally grasped the highest realm that countless of Liangshan continent's cultivators pursued. He looked at Mojia, deeply aware that without her, he could not have comprehended this. It seemed that while Chao Wuhui's speech was harsh, she had still been secretly helping him. Su Xing found it funny that Chao Gai had to go to such great pains. It appeared that Maiden Mountain's newcomer was quite impressive. Night. The giant Buddhist figure was already getting closer and closer. In less than 2 days, they ought to be able to arrive. That place was the highest level in the heaven-earth dark yellow thousand Buddha pagoda. It was full of formidable power. The Guanyin who could surpass all suffering and a devil transformation was there. When he thought of this unyielding woman, Su Xing sighed. She had been subject to too much hardship. That Guanyin is not your star general at all. Fong Mojia was as gentle as before, sitting on her legs. Su Xing walked over and customarily laid atop her thighs. Although Su Xing felt this honestly was not good each time he got up, he absolutely could not refuse. But every time the girl acted compliantly and gently, those deep eyes full of mystery seemed to focus on him. Before he knew it, Su Xing would collapse onto them. But it could not help but be stated, he slept very peacefully on the girl indeed. Without this tranquility, Su Xing could not possibly have comprehended transforming star of annihilation so quickly. Now, Su Xing already felt the power in his body was currently coursing through all of his meridians. This magic energy was completely dissolved into his body, the abundance of which was unlike supervoid cultivation. This kind of cultivation was even closer to nothingness, a return to a natural state. Because Liangshan continent did not have any records pertaining to transforming star of annihilation, Su Xing did not know to what degree he grasped transforming star of annihilation. According to the different sensation in his meridians, at least 12 had completely opened, and there were still others. She is not. Why must you concern yourself with her, to even come to this place in search of her? Fong Mojia continued. She can be considered a friend of mine. Su Xing answered. Although they were once foes, the two of them had already buried the hatchet. Besides, Su Xing was very impressed with the brave star's heroism. This was the first time he felt such regret at not signing a contract. Fong Mojia was silent for a while. What if she is dead? Dead? She is refining the Devil Star. She ought to be fine. Su Xing muttered. Are you unable to accept her death? Fong Mojia softly said. Unable to accept. If she is actually dead, then I'll resurrect her. Su Xing clenched his fist tightly. Not just Guanyin, but also Shi Xiuxiu, Zhu Manxiang, and more. Fong Mojia nodded, not making any statements. After a short period of silence, Su Xing opened his eyes and gazed at the woman's face. Tomorrow, leave this place with me. I'll speak with Chao Wuhui. You're a pretty good girl, not like a villain. Fong Mojia shook her head. Then tomorrow, we will part ways. Su Xing said. Fong Mojia nodded. Seeing her still so quiet, Su Xing did not want to force her. After he came out, he would properly ask Chao Wuhui about this girl's identity. He felt it was not simple. Su Xing, would you like to listen to a story? Fong Mojia spoke. I'm all ears. Su Xing closed his eyes. The girl spoke slowly, her voice like a trickling stream, clear to listen to. There once was a girl who, at the age of 8, inherited the name of the strongest wielder of power, ascending a throne that countless people dreamed of. But she was fond of writing, tea arts, and calligraphy. At her side were 4 ministers and officials. These ministers had preferences in wealth, beauty, power, and battle, taking hold of the entire nation's lifeline. But they were not satisfied at all. Surrounding this nation were also too many enemies and opponents to take. What opponent was there to take? Su Xing groggily asked. For example, the heavenly immortal star immortal of poetry Li Zian of the Tang dynasty, who was enormously talented, beautiful and graceful. Or perhaps the emperor of Star World's ancestral dragon, haughty and unequaled. The girl smiled. Su Xing proceeded. Continue, but the nation was not well. The domestic situation was turmoil and chaos. Among them, the power known as, no matter the time, any place is home, was the power that struck the most fear in them. The nation was already undefendable. Therefore, one day, the 4 ministers obtained a notice from the Xuan Nu of 9th heaven. They would attempt one final battle. What final battle? Su Xing's voice gradually trailed off. They would summon heavenly spirits and earthly fiends to stage the very first Genesis and at the same time name millions of star names. If it was you, would you stop them? It sounds like something very tiring and very boring. Su Xing yawned, his consciousness fuzzy. This highness also feels that it is very tiring. Fong Mojia smiled. She lowered her head and gently kissed Su Xing's forehead, softly saying. So, if you are tired, then sleep. Su Xing completely lost consciousness. As expected, you are Fong La. No matter the time, any place is home, your highness Fong Mojia. Through the vastness of the night, a voice penetrated. Liao Emperor Yelu Wuxin stepped forth, clapping her hands and smiling. Have you taken an interest in this man? To unexpectedly speak so much about Star World's affairs. This highness is weary. Fong Mojia lowered her eyelids. Yelu Wuxin continued, unconcerned, worthy of the one who frightened the 4 great ministers and even that empress. Never imagine that the 3 heavenly book that this king used would unexpectedly summon you, the Fong La who inherited 90,000 years of star names. However, you are a thorn in the side of the great Song Kingdom. The war has lasted several tens of thousands of years. To speak of who hates the star duels the most, then there is none other than you, your highness Mojia. Fong Mojia shut her eyes. Wu Yenguang bellowed, Hey, what is this attitude towards the great king? She raised her origin-mixing spear as she spoke and attacked. A ray of cold light pierced through the night, the pale pure land. I want to see what abilities you have. Fang Mojia glanced out the corner of her eye. A blue mist flew out. Wu Yenguang's blade cut it to pieces, but in that fleeting instant, she immediately felt her mind go blank. The woman was astonished, all of a sudden feeling her consciousness turn heavy, falling to the ground just like this. Then, without even looking, Fang Mojia snapped her fingers with her left hand. Behind her, a light flashed. He Bao was pulled out of hiding. Blood fiend. The girl's fingers moved. A dozen murderous auras billowed, and the blood fiends that swept over everything danced. But before these blood fiends even touched Fang Mojia, they were stopped by an invisible force. This highness wants to rest. Fang Mojia finished speaking. The blood fiends were torn to shreds. He Bao's expression was perplexed. She immediately collapsed onto the ground. This is the power that surpasses even the heavenly stars. Yelu Wuxin broke into a cold sweat. Fang Mojia lifted her head, her red lips gently parting. The Liao Kingdom star name should have already changed hands. A kind of powerful force sunk into her mind. Yelu Wuxin felt her consciousness beginning to go blank. The woman collapsed, unreconciled. You must end the star duels. Answer me, Fang La. Answer this king. You must destroy the Song Kingdom. Your Highness, no matter the time, any place is home. As your debt of gratitude, you will help this king in the Liao Kingdom, promise this king. Yelu Wuxin endured falling over. Finally, Fang Mojia sighed. This Highness promises you to end these star duels. Then good. Ha, ha, this king has a clear conscience about the king of the Liao Kingdom. Yelu Wuxin sat cross-legged, her scholarly aura slowly dissipating. She glanced at Su Xing, then back to Fang Mojia. This king can rest in peace. The Liao Emperor closed her eyes and sunk into eternal rest. In this lonely world came a long and drawn-out sigh. Liked it? Polo flowers bloomed as far as the eye could see. Brahmanistic chanting was loud, resonating bliss. A giant Sumer Buddhist idol was in front, its appearance very venerable, firm and calling for piety. Armored idols, bodhisattvas, Buddhas, and more filled the surroundings of the Sumeru idol. Some people were prostrate in worship, others read scriptures, doing different things. The Su Xing, who had gone through myriad sufferings, was immediately solemn when he saw this scene. This was the 7th level of the Heaven-Earth Dark Yellow Thousand Pagoda. I should be able to leave the pagoda through the level, and Guanyin is sealed inside the Sumeru idol. Su Xing said. The Fang Mojia beside him was silent. I really am grateful to you for these past few days. Su Xing turned to smile at the girl. In the Heaven-Earth Dark Yellow Thousand Buddha Pagoda, he was to overcome the 7 feelings and the 6 desires. However, because she was here, Su Xing actually was not affected too negatively. On the contrary, countless lap pillows under the starry sky were fully enjoyed by Su Xing towards this mysterious and ephemeral young woman. Su Xing honestly could not see through her. However, Su Xing had an intuition that this girl absolutely was not as simple as a trial of the pagoda. Ever since he saw the Liao Emperor, he never saw them afterwards. Perhaps she had something to do with it. Despite this, the young woman still made Su Xing feel dazed. Each lap pillow made him unable to help but open up. Speaking of, he had never mentioned his past on Earth to Lin Yingmei and the others. The girl from start to finish listened quietly and attentively without uttering a word. Occasionally, when she would soothingly help Su Xing organize his bangs, Su Xing could even see from her eyes much yearning and suffering. This highness ought to go. Fang Mojia quietly said. Su Xing was somewhat reluctant to part, mostly because he liked the girl's quiet listening. You and I have a connection. You've helped me so much, it really isn't too good. Do you have a wish you want me to help with? Wish? This was the first time Fong Mojia had heard a person tell her they wanted to help her achieve a wish. Her expression turned absent-minded. You are unable to fulfill this highness wish. She shook her head. The Su Xing that had wanted to show off suffered an enormous blow to his pride. You say I can't fulfill it before you even tell me what it is. Tell me then, I actually may be able to help you, as long as it doesn't go against my conscience. Fong Mojia stared and then smiled. This was the first time he had seen her smile. This was quite a perturbing blow. Wait until you reach Star World. Star World, at the present time, Su Xing honestly could not fulfill this. Just who are you? Su Xing curiously asked. Why would you appear in this place? Unliving yet also undying, infrequent yet also unceasing, unusual yet also unremarkable, unarriving yet also unleaving. Fong Mojia abruptly said softly. Su Xing's brow wrinkled tightly. Though he possessed the meditative mind lotus flower and a great understanding of Buddhism, he naturally knew this was gibberish. Now go fulfill your wish then, Major. Fong Mojia calmly said. That last phrase shocked Su Xing Major. It felt like a long time since anyone called him by that rank. After his astonishment passed, Su Xing suddenly had a sort of unreal feeling as if he was in a dream. How do you know my rank as a major? Su Xing had never mentioned this at all when speaking about himself. Fong Mojia merely looked at Su Xing without saying a word. She is waiting for you. Go then. Su Xing asked over and over, but Fong Mojia did not want to answer this question at all. Su Xing bitterly smiled. He had a dozen wives. Each addressed him differently, but whether it was the deepest young master or some other, none of them could make him lose himself as much as Fong Mojia's Major. This truly should not be. I will come visit you in Star World. At that time, I will help you fulfill your wish. Su Xing earnestly said. This was a promise between two people. Fong Mojia was calm as a dry well, as if she was saying, I will be waiting for you. Then, Su Xing set out for the Sumeru idol. Watching Su Xing's departing figure, Fong Mojia softly sighed. She opened her slender fingers. A light mist and purple light swirled about, forming the shape of a great blade. Upon careful inspection, this blade was none other than Guanyin purple brilliant reclining moon blade. This highness shall first help you achieve one final wish. Fong Mojia opened her hand. The purple light shot into the Sumeru idol. Casting one final glance, Fong Mojia's figure then abruptly vanished from sight, like the blossoming and withering of the Queen of the Night. As if nothing had ever happened in the first place. Su Xing reached the top of the Sumeru idol. He saw this place had a platform, a great number of white pagodas, 100 sarira floating in the air like stars in the sky, scriptures, and even more sonorous chanting. This place ought to be the center of the Pure Land. If Guanyin was refining the Devil Star, she would absolutely be in this place. But Su Xing had yet to see Guanyin. What is going on? Su Xing was somewhat uneasy in his heart. At this moment, he heard a sharp laugh. My Buddha of compassion, to surprisingly have brought you into the pagoda, this envious is truly delighted. A figure emerged. Astonishingly, it was Envious of the East, and beside Envious of the East was a golden crow demi-king who also had a cold gaze. You too haven't been refined. Su Xing chuckled. Because Envious of the East and the Golden Crow Demi-King offended Chao Gai during the Vermilion Bird Territory struggle over the 10,000-year Gu, she sucked them into the pagoda. Ever since he saw the Liao Emperor, Su Xing had thought this encounter may occur, but the disparity between the Liao Emperor's realm and theirs was too great. For them to survive was fundamentally impossible. He never expected that not only these two were still alive, they had contrarily survived intact. Su Xing saw the dignity in their eyes. Surprisingly, they had been refined into Buddhist disciples. Your cultivation has decreased. Are you comprehending transforming star of annihilation? Envious of the East could see clues, and he was unable to help but be surprised. To surprisingly be able to reach transforming star of annihilation, this man truly was a monster. If you are peak cultivation, this envious honestly would have been helpless against you. But right now, you have no one to blame but yourself that hell has no gates. Your time has come. Envious of the East laughed, raising his palm. Against a supervoid middle stage palm, the Su Xing was merely an ordinary person right now definitely could not bear this. Fortunately, Su Xing had battle doctrine and excellent martial arts, evading handily. Although the Golden Crow Demi-King bore no enmity toward Su Xing, hearing Envious of the East mention the matter of transforming star of annihilation, he raised killing intent. He opened his mouth and breathed out the essence fire of the sun, like a coiling dragon. Even Su Xing's body techniques could not dodge an ability like this. Su Xing gloomily wanted to vomit blood. Transforming star of annihilation was exalted as Liangshan continent's strongest cultivation. In the end, he was currently no better than Stardust stage. Just at this moment, a ray of purple light broke over, splitting the Golden Crow divine fire in two. The Golden Crow Demi-King's expression changed. A chilling blade light emerged, stunning. The Golden Crow divine fire assumed the form of a three-legged crow. Its power swelled, but that blade light also became a purple phoenix. The Golden Crow divine fire appeared impressive, however, it was completely destroyed by this purple phoenix after only a few exchanges. The remaining power directly broke the Golden Crow Demi-King's chest. Before he could react, he was split in two by a blade, vanishing. Envious of the East's eyes were dazzled. A figure was already next to him at this time. He immediately activated the Three Clarities sword chant, but the sword chant was similarly swept aside by this gorgeous great blade. Similarly stunning and breathtaking blade light filled the sky. Envious of the East's sword chant was completely unable to resist and immediately was destroyed. It's you. Why? Envious of the East did not dare believe the purple brilliant reclining moon blade that appeared before his eyes. A pair of unwavering pupils did not give him an answer, but they gave him an absolute promise of death. With this, Envious of the East very quickly ended his aggression. Everything happened in but an instant. Su Xing was taken aback, looking at the woman who suddenly appeared on the platform. That was a figure he would never forget. A countenance of supreme dignity, composed as a painting or poem. Clad in armor and fluttering clothes, her jade body was awe-inspiring. Brave star great blade Guaning. Guaning. Seeing her, Su Xing breathed a sigh of relief. You have finally come, your distinguished self Su Xing. Guaning gripped her great blade, speaking in a low voice. Have you finished refining your devil star? I've come to get you out of here. I need you in order to end the star duels. Su Xing said. End the star duels. Guaning was momentarily absent-minded. You are still considering this? Of course, a real man keeps his word. Su Xing calmly said. Staring at Su Xing's eyes, Guaning did not see within any bluff or high-sounding words past star masters used to deceive their star generals. Guaning nodded, muttering quietly, since this is the case, allow this general to lend you a hand. Before Su Xing could be elated, Guaning suddenly revolted, the purple brilliant reclining moon blade drew a unique slash, an unrivaled blade light. Guaning. Su Xing looked at the cut on his chest, incomparably flabbergasted. If you want to scale the peak, then become transforming star. Allow this general to help you reach this unrivaled. Guaning wielded her great blade, her tone stern. She strode forward, lunging. Hey, things aren't going as planned. Su Xing was depressed. He wanted to seek out Guaning for a return to the star duels, not to continue old enmities nor to return to their past state of irreconcilable adversaries. Su Xing completely lacked any intent to fight, relying on his body techniques to evade. Guan Ning was furious. If you do not use full power, this general shall cut you to pieces. Why are you doing this? Su Xing asked. This general is still the head of the 5 Tigers generals. How can I serve a second master? Do you still not understand? Su Xing. Guan Ying's voice resonated, ear-splitting. Even if this general has rescinded her contract, she will not contract a second master. Besides, this general is refining the Devil Star. This general owes too much blood to the sisters. How can this general show her face and return to end the star duels? Guan Ying's tone became gentle. Ending the star duels is the common goal of your Maiden Mountain sisters. How can you just cower here in the name of your so-called face? Su Xing shouted. Guan Ying shook her head. If your distinguished self Su Xing cannot bear Guan Ying's resolution on this, then this general can only destroy you here. Guan Ying slowly spoke. Her aura became more and more powerful, more and more eerie. The air around her was like a sheet of white paper stained in black ink. This blackness slowly spread, and at the same time, the purple heavenly phoenix of the great blade in her hand became a black phoenix, appearing overbearing. An indescribably wicked beauty rendered Su Xing speechless. But regret and agony filled his heart. Devil Star Guan Ying's true stance. Why haven't you refined it? Su Xing was completely at a loss. Guan Ying's black pupils were dazzling. An evil grin blossomed on her lips, yet it was full of a strange gentleness. Then helping her remove it right now, your distinguished self. Use the promise of this life. Liked it? The quiet valley was already split apart. All kinds of severe saber light and sword marks crossed in a disorderly chaos, stripping the valley of its original appearance layer by layer. Lin Yingmei raised her spear, her breathing quiet and slow, adjusting her rhythm. Sweat slid from her forehead down to her chin, the droplets evaporating away before they fell by formless killing intent. Reflected in Lin Yingmei's unwavering eyes was the likeness of Chao Gai. Thousand Buddha star Chao Wuhui already lacked her previously haughty attitude, and her golden armor was already mottled with cracks. The light of the heaven-earth dark yellow Thousand Buddha pagoda hovering over her head was receding, its power weak. Under the combined assault of Lin Yingmei, Wuxia, and the others, even the Chao Gai who was outside the star duels cut quite a sorry figure. Chao Gai was not angry, however. Rather, she was beaming with joy, unfathomable. Good, very good. This one did not favor him in vain. Chao Wuhui, you laugh, but you do not look the slightest bit all right. Wu Xinjie stuck out her tongue, speaking dispiritedly. The battle already was dragging on to nearly its 7th day and 7th night. Now, it was a full moon suspended in the sky again, and they were finally at their limit. The instinct of the star duels was compelling Wu Xinjie and the others to set out for Maiden Mountain, but each day Su Xing remained trapped was a day they were unable to be at ease. Now that the power of the Thousand Buddha Pagoda was like a candle flame in the wind, gradually ebbing, Wu Xinjie once again spurred herself on. Sisters, renew your efforts and even Chao Gai will not be able to continue laughing. Lin Yingmei breathed deeply, once again gripping her Arctic Star Serpent spear tightly. As everyone's sister and the first to follow Su Xing, she was the strongest, the first wife in both name and reality. Her every word and action now represented all of the girls. If you are unable to proceed, your lord husband will die under Guan Ying's blade. Chao Wuhui provoked them. Wu Xio cracked a cold sneer, your concubine does not believe this will be the case. When she finished speaking, wind rose across the level ground. Noble Frost demonic lotus split apart into twin swords, their sword chi filling the valley, becoming countless white lotuses. Beneath the snow-white lotuses, black flowers bloomed, contrasting beautifully with the snow lotuses like pitch-black ink. This honestly was purity that grew out of the mud unsullied. Wherever the twin swords passed, peach blossoms and lotus flowers bloomed. Unsurpassed beautiful killing intent suffocated the space in a range of several dozen li. Following Wuxia's determination, it descended straight towards Chao Gai. Earth rank. Ownerless peach tree is in bloom. On the other side, Lin Yingmei acted at the same time. The girl became an ice-cold shooting star. Wherever she passed, breath turned to frost, and ice and snow encroached. An enormous sun and moon behind Lin Yingmei's spear froze solid. The black and white figures pincered from the left and right, teamwork that would make anyone envious. Chao Wuhui bellowed, not daring to overlook the earth ranks of the Harm Star and Majestic Star. She immediately defended, golden lotuses emerging from her sleeves, filling the world. The golden light was blinding, resisting the black lotuses and peach blossoms. Even when the true Phoenix 8th stage Chao Wuhui was weak, Wuxia could barely persist, but the pilgrim's attack merely pulled open the curtain on one last overture. The others promptly rushed out like raptors, moving swiftly. All of their most powerful techniques were unleashed in a flood. This hatred faces wind, this passion leaves moon. Mercy. Phoenix execution sky break. Phoenix dances 9 days. Bright full moon fills heaven and earth. Weather is not predictable. Sound lingering a millennium. Throw money away recklessly. Countless techniques flocked over, the most indescribable scene in the world. Bodhisattva and Buddhist light, heavenly wheels, phoenixes, and a bright moon were among the incomparably beautiful sights, unable to be described. The new heavenly phoenix, white and black unicorn tiger, snow-treading frost-eye beast, 9-tailed spirit fox, and the other star beasts lent their masters a hand, inciting their strongest offensive. Zhao Hanyan, Gong Kai-wei, and Shiyu were not idle either. Their strongest powers, flying swords, and magic weapons attacked, sparing no effort. Even if they posed little threat against Chao Gai, they hoped to contribute their humble efforts. The Chao Wuhui who did not give way smiled. She raised her palm, using her heaven rank for the first time in her life against star generals. Nirvana of all things. The valley scenery surrounding Chao Wuhui vanished in the blink of an eye, transforming into an all-things treasure wheel, like an impregnable cycle of bliss. Their magnificent killing intent vanished within this, and a kind of heavy and formidable power descended from the heavens, barreling towards Lin Yingmei and the others in succession. Goddesses, treasure wheels, immortals, and other phenomena instantly encircled them. A kind of feeling of loss came from their souls. They were completely depriving the girls of their strength. Heaven rank. Wuxia grit her teeth. This was the power of the Buddha star's heaven rank. Even with their teamwork, they were surprisingly defeated in an instant. A pity that they currently had yet to comprehend their own heaven ranks, otherwise, they would still have a chance in battle. This one shall beat you back into your original shapes. Chao Wuhui waved and was about to end this battle where they had overestimated themselves. But Wu Xinjie laughed. You finally used your heaven rank. Then do not blame us for spanking you on behalf of our young lord, Chao Wuhui. What? Chao Wuhui was taken aback. All of a sudden, she saw all of the girls had knowing looks. Past them, Chao Wuhui caught sight of the indifferent maid. The maid was in a leisurely pose, both of her hands held out. Skillful star wanderer Yan Yizhen's crimson pupils were very penetrating, the tattoo on her snow-white back vividly beginning to glint. The yin-yang carps leapt out from her hands, swimming around her. Two fantastic colors of fire and ice ignited on her body, slowly morphing. The maid strode forward. Her steps were elegant. Fire and ice peeled off her body, like a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis. Even Chao Gai was stunned. Her already slender thighs became even more slim and developed. Then, her waist narrowed, extremely thin. Her chest was full, on the verge of bursting out. Her maid clothes became a gorgeous long skirt. Her layered clothes were beautiful as phoenix feathers. When the two carps finally left Yan Yizhen's face, Yan Yizhen had already transformed into another beauty. Thin brows with clear and bright pupils, glinting pure and gorgeous. Her fresh and rosy lips curled into an elegant curve. Her fair skin was like ice and snow. Let alone that alluring figure, even the most beautiful dancer in the world could not compare. Hun Yangzi was known as the pinnacle of beauty across the 9 generations, but when this girl appeared, she was still a dazzling beautiful, someone that could not be looked straight at. To say nothing of Chao Wuhui, even Lin Yingmei, Wuxia, Gong Sunhuang and the others stared in shock. This is Little Yi's heaven rank, phoenix reincarnation. Wu Xinjie was envious. The girl grinned and walked forwards. Her fingers spread open, and a bright flame ignited, finally turning into 2 gigantic, gorgeous phoenix-like feather fans. Matching with the girl's temperament, she honestly was unmatched in the world. Feng and Huang. Chao Wuhui recognized this destined weapon, and her expression became grim. The girl's hands gripped the fans, stepping into the heaven-ranked domain of nirvana of all things, so gracefully, comfortably, calmly, easily. Please accept this girl's dance. The girl spread her wings, smiling gorgeously. Who was she? Who else? Heavenly splendid star. Li Shishir. Star position, tranquil star. Star name, Shuiyong nickname, sick tiger. True name, Shui Mingxi. Rank, 84th star. Weapon, good and evil. Karma banner, 4 star, star beast, death. Sound realm, extreme realm. First stage. Innate skill, incurable disease. 5 elements, wood. Yellow. Rank technique, funeral rite. Dark. Rank technique, corpse beheading. Earth. Rank technique, evil. Has its retribution. Current status, crimson star. Covenant with earthly speed. Star arrow hit. Tiger. Star position, speed. Star. Star name, Ding Disun. Nickname, arrow hit. Tiger. True name, Ding Wanjing. Rank, 79th star. Weapon, under heaven. Arrow force, 5 star, star beast, insect carving realm, extreme realm. 3rd stage. Innate skill, anger. 5 elements, fire. Yellow. Rank technique, 10,000 arrow array. Dark. Rank technique, weary bird. Forest return. Earth. Rank technique, all stars kill. Moon. Current status, crimson star. Covenant with Shui Mingxi. Detail materials. Song Qingxi looked at the information presented upon the birth treasure outline, an endlessly ruminating expression towards the 2 girls before her eyes. The others were astonished and curious. They really are sisters, to surprisingly sign a contract with another sister. Wang Jingji cried out this was inconceivable. Even with leader star Song Qingxi's uprising, there were surprisingly other star generals that could contract with other star generals. This was honestly unprecedented. Originally, Dai Xingyue had wanted to understand the details of this star master and star general pair, so she used the birth treasure outline. She never expected this line of information to surprisingly appear when she directed it towards Shui Mingxi. Mingxi, we cannot disguise ourselves as pigs to eat the tiger. Ding Wanjing furrowed her brow. Shui Mingxi rolled her eyes. Hearing her words, Song Qingxi's faction broke into laughter. Perhaps you can inform Qingxi just what is happening with this. Song Qingxi softly asked. Why must we inform you? Ding Wanjing, this is the secret between Mingxi and I. Ding Wanjing, Mingxi, do not tell her anything. Ding Wanjing, before she could say anything, Ding Wanjing blabbered on and on. Can it be you actually want to join those star masters in that foolish monster-slaying alliance? 9 tattooed dragons. Shi Jingluan's gaze returned from the window. She vaguely felt that Wang Luan was currently taking those star masters through training. That power was indeed very formidable. Although they had Wang Luan training their martial arts, Shi Jingluan actually was not envious. Her gaze then turned to the rear courtyard. A woman powerful enough to be without equal in Liangshan drank wine. With a tipsy expression, she gave pointers to the martial arts of Sun Yueying and the others. Even Li Longkue had been drawn over. Once I fall into a state of poor health, I am able to sign a contract. This is my innate skill. Xue Mingxi powerlessly said. But she can only contract with a star general. Ding Wanjing pursed her lips. Meaning, if the previous overlord Wu Song had signed a contract with Sick Tiger, then she could have ascended Maiden Mountain. A pity that the star duels were too merciless. The probability for a weakened Sick Tiger to sign a contract were too remote. But it must be after half a year from the ending of the third phase. Xue Mingxi continued. Shi Jingluan was very skeptical why she would know this so clearly. Ding Wanjing continued to chatter, because we were always together. Wanjing originally saw that she was suicidal and wanted to find a place with good feng shui to be buried in. Saying this, the two of them recalled past events, distracted for a time. Even without saying anything, Song Qingxi could discern that the sisterly bond between these two was very profound. She recognized that they had quite the tale. Little sisters, would you follow your servant up Maiden Mountain? Song Qingxi softly asked. Ding Wanjing wrinkled her brow and asked her partner, Mingxi, what do you think? Xue Mingxi very weakly said, can we refuse? Song Qingxi smiled and nodded. Then I shall agree after all. Perhaps elder sister can make Wanjing shut up for once. Ha! Can it be that I am really noisy? Ding Wanjing, I just like to talk, that's all. You surprisingly despise me. Ding Wanjing, if it was not for me, how could you have heard so many interesting stories about the Purple Thunder monster? Ding Wanjing, you forget favors and violate justice. Ding Wanjing, Song Qingxi and the others were speechless. Xue Mingxi vomited blood. I will have to decline after all, elder sister. Please have that big sister bury me right here. Liked it? Su Xing looked at the woman leaning on his shoulder, at her clean brow, her fine hair, her charming lashes. Her forehead was outlined with an indomitable spirit, and her facial features were carved as if from jade. Further down was her pure white neck, which was stuck with some strands of her fine black hair due to the intense exercise earlier. Her breastplate was carved with flamboyant dragons and phoenixes. She leaned against his shoulder. The soft touch of her body was extremely distinct, but Su Xing did not have any doubts at all about the strength under this softness. Just now, he had been suffering under her. The woman's legs were folded. Under her armor and skirt, those slender thighs that met together were like an impregnable dam in the tranquility. In battle, they became storming footsteps, turning into powerful weapons full of fatal allure. This was brave star Great Blade Guanyin. When they finally set aside their fighting intent, only then did Su Xing discover that the unsurpassed woman who was like a god of war still possessed in her tranquility an aura that gave him the urge to protect her. In this Pure Land world, the colored glass was already beginning to wither. The faraway temples, treasure idols, and white pagodas were slowly disintegrating. The fluttering polo, the space in front of his eyes, Su Xing could not help but recall the battle earlier with Guanyin. Of course, the process and result of the battle was already not worth mentioning. Having gone through Hu Banzwang's strongest overlord baptism, Su Xing's martial arts were already sufficient to contend against Guanyin for 100 bouts without defeat. And the battle with Guanyin, rather than say it was to make a clean break, it was more appropriate to say that the brave star was imparting to Su Xing the last of her martial arts. Thus this battle was knowingly held back at the very end, so currently this kind of tranquility remained. A while after. Guanyin broke this atmosphere, why do you not leave? I came to get you out. If you won't leave, I won't leave. Su Xing calmly replied. This general has already withdrawn from the star duels. To participate once again would be a shame to the past brave stars. Su Xing, do you want to disgrace this general? Guanyin shut her eyes, sleeping against his shoulder, her tone very apathetic. The Guanyin who had turned her life of martial arts into a teaching noticed that after the battle, this fleeting moment of gentle tranquility was very comfortable. Presumably, Lin Yingmei and the others were very fond of this. Su Xing, who had been a soldier, was very aware that honor and duty were more important than life, so the Su Xing who was able to reverse black and white and speak with a glib tongue was silent at this moment. Maiden Mountain has powerful enemies waiting for you. You must properly protect my sisters. This purple brilliant reclining moon blade shall be entrusted to you. Guaning slightly closed her eyes. She pointed her finger, and the 5-star purple brilliant reclining moon blade appeared in front of Su Xing. A coiling dragon manifested, purple light glinted, and that singly devil star originally on the blade had long already become one final shining star. Silence. It is regretful that this general has only comprehended earth rank. If it is you, perhaps you can help this general fulfill her wish. Su Xing continued to be silent. Guaning said nothing earlier. They continued to enjoy these final moments. The heaven-earth dark yellow thousand Buddha pagoda suddenly shook. This illusionary world fired a ray of white light. It flew straight towards them. Su Xing knew that the time had come to leave, that there were still people outside waiting for him. I know. Take care of yourself. Su Xing held Guanying's hand, tightly grasping her palm, just like a chain. Guaning was taken aback but did not resist. She allowed Su Xing, who was reluctant to let go, to hold it. Her heart softened without reason. Guaning left the most gentle order in all her life. This general shall wait at Maiden Mountain for your triumph. The white wind blew, and flowers fell like rain. By the time the wind stopped and the flowers ceased, that hand Su Xing held had already vanished. All traces of Guaning disappeared into the wind. Ai. Su Xing sighed. When Su Xing emerged from the heaven-earth dark yellow thousand Buddha pagoda, Lin Yingmei and the others were currently somewhat pacing back and forth in worry. When they saw Su Xing appear, they finally sighed in relief. Chao Wuhui, many thanks to you this time. Su Xing cupped his fist in gratitude to Thousand Buddha Star Chao Gai. You're injured. Su Xing saw that Chao Gai was cutting a bit of a sorry figure, leaving him a bit surprised, but he immediately realized what had happened. Little sister, please help heal Chao Wuhui. And Suan walked over. Chao Gai said, no need. It seems you have passed through the heaven-earth dark yellow thousand Buddha pagoda well. This one has not undertaken this in vain. For the road henceforth, you are on your own. Saying this, she raised her brow. Chao Wuhui coldly swept her gaze over the others, vanishing from this place in the blink of an eye. She left so fast. I still wanted to ask her about Mojia. Su Xing was helpless. Young lord, have you completed your wish? All of the girls cared more about what happened to Su Xing in the heaven-earth dark yellow pagoda. Su Xing also explained the sequence of events. When he mentioned Mojia, all of the wives glanced at each other. When he mentioned Guanying's starfall, that she left behind her reclining moon blade, they were unable to help but be silent. However, in the end, he still did not comprehend transforming star of annihilation. Although Su Xing felt he was already past the peak of supervoid, even facing off against Guaning in battle, which had the greatest likelihood of transforming star of annihilation, he felt he was lacking something. Lacking levitation to Star World. Hua Wanyue was pensive. According to records, transforming Star of Annihilation could levitate to Star World. Maybe. Su Xing was not clear on this. He had contracts on him, so levitating to Star World was perhaps not very realistic. You are lacking destiny. All of a sudden, a lovely and pleasant voice rang out. Su Xing paused. This voice was honestly nice to listen to, like the mellow song of an oriole yet also clear like a wind chime. Each word was full of an extravagant feeling. Su Xing was well aware of the voice of each of his wives, but this voice did not belong to any of them. Where is little Yi? Su Xing did not notice little Yi's presence. All of the girls' expressions became somewhat strange. Sisters, why not introduce Xinger to our newest sister? Chai Ling held her cat, sitting far away and seemingly smiling. New sister. Little E is over there. Wu Xinjie stuck out her tongue and pointed at the lakeside. The girls parted, and then Su Xing saw. At the edge of the lake, under the willows and cliffs sat a sweet and elegant woman. The woman's skirt was like a cloud, her clothes like snow, her smile delicate as a flower, a jade beauty. The hibiscus of the pond did not measure up to the woman's beauty one bit, and that serene scent lost appeal before the graceful woman. Honestly, this was the feeling of, the beauty outshines the hibiscus, the water palace's wind brings the fragrance of pearls. Even Su Xing could not help but be captivated for a moment. Willows hang straight, strands of green into the mist. Upon the dike, I saw them many times, floating off in the water. I climb up to gaze at the old capital. Who knows me? I am a tired guest away from the capital's bustle. The years pass by the long pavilion path, broken stalks piled on for 1,000 chi. The woman rose, walking toward Su Xing with slender elegant steps. She spoke softly, sang gently. Does Lord Husband know who she is? Wu Xiao lowered her head, and a smile curled along the corner of her lips, speaking ambiguously. Little E, Su Xing wrinkled his brow, but he felt something was off. This woman was honestly too beautiful, too dazzling. To use the phrase, beauty that ruins a city, would not be an apt description. Yan Yizhen was very beautiful, but not this much. The girl walked before Su Xing. Shi Yuan jealously ground her teeth. As they were similar woman, how was it that this woman's steps were so beautiful and charming? Out of everyone, perhaps only a queen could compare in charm and nobility, beauty and purity. You were singing Lanling Wang just now. Su Xing took a deep breath. Yan Yizhen had once sang of this Lanling Wang before as well. The girl slightly curtsied. She spread her hands, and two beautiful phoenix fans appeared. This woman Li Shishir greets Mr. Li Shishir. Su Xing said in astonishment. Your true name is Li Shishir. Does Mr. have any objections? Li Shishir thinly smiled. Su Xing blankly looked at Wu Xinjie and the others. All of the wives helplessly nodded. She is Little Yi's heaven rank incarnation. Shishir comes from Star World, both in name and reality. Li Shishir said. Is that so? Then mind if I take a look at you? Su Xing asked. Li Shishir very alluringly winked. Shall this girl undress? Please do, Su Xing chuckled. How could he tease her in front of Lin Yingmei and the others? He said nothing, turning over his wrist and manifesting the birth treasure outline. However, like that time with Chao Gai, there were practically only question marks. Star position, splendid star name, Li Shishir nickname, flying general true name. Star number, 188 star weapon, Feng and Huang, double fans, star beast. Realm. Innate skill, country ruination 5 elements, metal yellow rank technique, spread wings dark rank technique, phoenix dance earth rank technique. Heaven rank technique. Current status, psychic communication, cannot be conquered, detailed materials. The birth treasure outline. If Mr. had 4, then you could have seen even more clearly. Li Shishir said. Presumably you exerted great strength against Chao Gai, Shishir. Su Xing saw that she was Yan Yizhen's incarnation and was very sincere, but he had a question, when will Little E return? Does Mr. feel Shishir is annoying? You are in such a rush to have Shishir leave. Li Shishir played with the Feng and Huang fans, speaking softly. This girl's voice was indeed mesmerizing. If it was not for the heart-like mirror soul technique, Su Xing honestly would be somewhat unable to resist. What are you planning? Fine then, if you want to replace Little E, I must inform you, Little E and I often take intimate baths together and do some fun things. Su Xing saw her nobility and was still unable to help crack a joke. You want to try? Li Shishir remained unperturbed. Mr. Truly is impatient. Wait a moment. Su Xing suddenly recalled some things. You said you are from Star World. Then you must be very aware of Star World's affairs. Li Shishir wore a small smile upon her face. Li Shishir and Zhao Ji, you must have some relation to Star World's Empress. Su Xing paused. Why is Mr. so certain? Li Shishir showed slight amusement. Su Xing naturally could not say that he recalled some poetry or something. I saw that you are an incomparable beauty, and your innate skill is country ruination. How can this be a misnomer in Star World? Indeed, the Empress is fond of Shishir's dance and song performances. Li Shishir said. Then, she interrupted Su Xing. Shishir knows that Mr. wants to ask about ending the star duels. Over the course of 1,000 years, only the current skillful star was able to unite with Shishir's mind and body. Presumably, her master is also an incomparably accomplished person. To end the star duels, you indeed require the Empress. How do we do it? Everyone was anxious. To have Shishir deliver a message to the Empress on behalf of Mr. is not difficult. But, she wants my virginity. Su Xing was about to recommend his services when Zhao Hanyan stepped on his foot from the side. Please dance with me, sir. Li Shishir extended her hand that was white as frost and gave a thin smile. Liked it, that you're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.